Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hey, you Potter Than Hellions. Welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host. I'm joined as always by
BC
and
BB.
Our keyboard player tonight will be
Dylan.
And we have another special episode for you guys here tonight. We are joined by our awesome fellow podcasters, David Hudson and Chris Craig from the Digital Killed the Radio Star podcast. Guys, what's up?
What's up, fellas?
Yo, what's up?
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Hey, welcome aboard. This episode's been in quite a while in the works. David and I have been going back and forth with ideas for we could do a crossover show with both podcasts, and hopefully you guys will enjoy what we came up with. But before we get into that, let's David and Chris tell us, give our listeners that may not have heard your podcast, let them know what you guys are all about.
Chris and I were fraternity brothers and have known each other now, I don't know, Chris, over 20 years. And have pretty much been doing podcasts ever since we've known each other. We just didn't record them. Both big music fans. And the interesting thing about Chris and I is we have a lot of music in common, but within that music that we have in common, we disagree on a few things. For instance, the alt country rocker Ryan Adams we're both big fans of his. I think his album Cold Roses is a masterpiece. Chris thinks it's meh. And he thinks his Heartbreaker album's his best album, and I think it's meh. So anyway, we have differing opinions on things, and we just kind of cover the stuff that we like. And on our little business card, it kind of says everything from Johnny Cash to Megadeth, and that's pretty much everything. We don't talk about bro country or rap music, but I think we've probably touched on everything else. Everything else in between. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, we try to bring in some really. I mean, David knows I'm really kind of, and he can be too. But I got a really diverse taste, and I listen to a lot of obscure stuff. So if you listen to us, I'll bring up some stuff you've probably never heard of. Some of it may be metal, some may be punk, new wave, some lo-fi, sad bastard indie rock. You know, I mean, we do it all.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll tell you, I've been listening to your guys' podcast since the beginning. Just so you guys know out there, we met, BC and I met Chris and David at the Rockin' Pod Expo in Nashville last year, and which this year coming up at Rockin' Pod Expo 2, we are actually going to be splitting a table down there. You guys have your perks up or no?
Yeah, we've actually had, believe it or not, a couple of people actually have submitted some money in our name. One of them was Sonny Pooney. He gave us an album to review that by a band called The Storm, and I don't think our review is going to be that great of it. But and we had another guy the other day donate enough to he's going to pick our pick a topic episode in the future. So we're trying to do everything we can to help. Hey, real quick, Steve, before we get started, I do want to say thank you to you guys. You've always been very supportive of our podcast with retweets and social media engagement, and you guys have mentioned us a number of times on the podcast, and I for one, I know Chris does too. We really appreciate that.
No problem. No problem. I thank you guys for you guys for listening and noticing that we're plugging you guys. We appreciate that. And we also we don't have our perks out yet. We're in negotiations with one another here to get them going. But you guys out there listening, go to it's I believe it's Rockin' Pod Expo. You can just put it into Facebook and it'll come right up there. And
actually, Steve, go to the GoFundMe page.
Okay.
And type in Nashville Rockin' Pod Expo 2, and that will take you to the page. And I don't care if you donate under our name or Potter Than Hell's name. The organizers, they just need some money, and I can tell you, I'm privy to a few things that not everybody is privy to, and the guest announcements that are coming up in the next couple of weeks are going to it's going to be big. So if you want to go ahead and donate some money, because I think it's going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be cool. I was speaking with Chris Senzak of the Decibel Geek podcast about a week ago or so, and I was talking to him about different stuff like that, and he said that he gave me a little bit of info too, which is going to come out in a couple of weeks and throughout the next couple of weeks, which is going to be really cool. So it's definitely something that if you're in the area, if you're able to go there, go. If you can help us out or help the guys in Digital out or any of the other podcasts that are out there, it all pretty much goes to the same expo, so it cuts down the costs for everybody else for everything we're doing down there. And it's hey, if we didn't go last year, we wouldn't be doing this podcast with these guys today. I consider these guys friends now, and that's what it's all about. Just one big community. And I think that was the one of the catchphrases down there last year was like a podcasting community, whether it was like like a metal podcast or podcasts like you guys that do diverse things. But it was just cool. Like everyone was cool. There was no bullshit, and it was everybody helping everybody. It wasn't like I'm gonna try to not tell you something because maybe you might get more listeners than me. There wasn't any of that kind of bullshit at all, and it was just a great community.
Yeah, I mean you hit the nail on the head, and I think it's even going to be better this year because so many of us met one another last year and have carried on friendships via social media and texting and calling. So I think it's going to be a real communal effort and going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Before we get rolling here, what we like to do on this show is we like to see what everybody's currently listening to, and we'll let our guests go first. David and Chris, you guys pick who wants to go first. What are you guys listening to these days?
I'm late to the party on this band. I've heard about them a bit, and I finally started listening to this band. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, called Death Heaven. It's one word, Death Heaven. They've been described as shoegaze, black metal, or hipster metal. It's weird. I mean, it's very atmospheric. It's not like what you're thinking of as black metal. It's not, hell, Satan, nihilism. Dude doesn't quite sound like he's possessed, but he does have the kind of the black metal type vocals. But it's got some of the most just beautiful, beautiful music, and they do these. It's hard to explain. I would just say they're probably not like anything you've heard before. Very atmospheric, and to just give you an idea of how different they are, I mean, my favorite album of theirs is called Sunbather. It's basically a solid pink album, the cover. So, yeah, it's not the typical black metal, but again, they're called Death Heaven. They just, their new single actually just came out. Coincidentally, I just started listening to them about a week ago, completely unaware that the new single was coming out. It was released today, or no, like 2 days ago. Don't know when the new album's coming out, but anyway, the song is just fantastic. It's called Honeycomb. It is I know it's on Apple Music. They've got a really cool video for it, but if you want something to start with them, an album, go with the album Sunbather. This is going to be like something you haven't heard before, and I can absolutely guarantee that.
We'll definitely have to check them out, and I got to say, I will listen to that because, Chris, you gave an awesome album that I got into last year. It was on your top 10 list, and it was something that I never thought I would listen to. And even when I put it on, my wife was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's a band that these guys that I heard from you guys."
Dream Cars.
Yeah, Dream Car. Yeah, and great. It's like a new wave album. So I will. I'll give you the shot of that. I'll check out Dream Heaven since you gave me Dream Car. So
no, it's called Death
Heaven. I'm sorry, Death Heaven. Heaven.
Yeah, but I'm glad you like Dream Car, man. And you know what? That's probably, at least in recent memory, that is the most fail-proof album recommendation I've had. I can honestly say every single person I've referred that to has really liked the album. Some have just loved it, and it's cool that somebody that's I love to hear that, though, that somebody that is more metal and the harder edge music really likes that record. I like that.
That's cool. Definitely. Absolutely. David, what do you got for us?
Well, actually, it's nothing really new. Chris is going to hate me saying this because he hates hearing me talk about vinyl, but really getting into the vinyl kick and going back and buying a lot of my favorite albums on vinyl, and got the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street the other day and just cannot quit listening to it. one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'm just all into it at the moment. As far as like some of the stuff your listeners may like, I have the new Dead Daisies. I haven't really listened to it more than once or twice, but it's definitely worth giving another listen. And then me and Chris have been texting each other back and forth. We're a little apprehensive, but waiting to see how the new Striper album sounds. I think it comes out, as we're recording this, I think it comes out tomorrow.
Wow.
So those are, and White Snake, the Purple album. I've been listening to that. So
All right, cool. Yeah, definitely. We're definitely looking forward to the Striper album coming out. And Dead Daisies, I've listened to that once or twice. Really good album. And like you, David, I mentioned on episodes previous that my wife is definitely ready to kill me because I have started to recollect vinyl myself. And I know BC's in his glory now, but it's great. And I haven't listened to that Stones album in a while. I'll have to bust that out one of these days and check that out again. Awesome. Who do we got next? BC, what do you got going?
Just for the last 3 weeks, I've been listening to anything and everything Saxon. I don't know why.
BC's on a Saxon
I
kid.
guess like overdosing on him lately. I don't know why. It's not a bad thing.
No, not
It
bad.
is not.
Not bad at all.
BB, how about you?
All right, I gotta give a shout out to my buddy Lou Reynolds out there. He's a frequent listener, and just passing in the hallways at work the other day, he threw this at me. It's Triumph's Greatest Hits. It's a CD and a DVD. I have not seen the DVD, but the CD I listened to today, really, really awesome songs like Laid on the Line, I Live for the Weekend, Fight the Good Fight, Never Surrender. The guitar in that is phenomenal. And then they close with Love Hurts. Classic Triumph songs out there that they put on a CD and a DVD, and I can't wait to see the DVD because the CD was really, really good.
Awesome. There's definitely a lot of love for Triumph out there. Really great Canadian band. And I was actually glad I got to see those guys in 1986. And at the time, they were using a second guitar player, Phil X, that ended up recording on their Edge of Excess album that is actually Richie Sambora's replacement in Bon Jovi now. Yeah. So, Dylan, what do you got going?
In anticipation of the upcoming concert that we're going to in May, I've been delving back into Bullet for My Valentine, specifically Scream Aim Fire, because that was my first album I heard from them. That lead-off track, the title track, is just such a kick to the face that you can't go wrong with it. But it's a classic album. It's got some nice, clean vocals, but also some really awesome, screaming, like hardcore vocals. A lot of cool breakdowns, a lot of awesome solos. Check it out if you've never listened to it. It's
Really cool band.
yeah, they're great. I'm
I
excited
like
to
those
see
guys
them.
a lot.
We saw them 2011. and
2011, I think we saw them.
I tried going around in the mosh pit and it didn't work out too well.
Maybe you
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that band, man. They and that is one of the best. Some of their stuff, man. That's some of the best music too. When I'm in the gym,
Yeah.
I love that. I love those guys.
Yeah, great hard rock driving band, and I like them too because it's not all like the screaming shit, and they have a lot of cool melodies. They're a really good band.
Screaming shit
Yeah.
is really good sometimes.
No, it is, but it's not
I agree.
all that. I like some of it, but if it's all they do, it kind of turns me off. But I like their because their regular vocals are great.
And they're a band from Wales.
Yeah, I agree.
And good, really good pick, Dylan. And I'm actually going to stick with the Bullet theme. I've been listening to the Bullet Boys debut album since I listened to Chris Senzak and Aaron Camaro's Decibel Geek podcast. They had Mick Sweeta, the original guitar player in Bullet Boys, on there, and Toby Wright, who engineered the album. And I've just been rocking the shit out of that album lately. And I'm looking for David. I'm looking for a vinyl copy of it. BC. Do you have it on vinyl, BC?
Which one?
First Bullet Boys.
Yes.
Maybe I'll borrow it and maybe not return it.
If you hear noise at night tonight, it's just him coming in.
No, BC has a lot of guns. I won't break into BC's house.
is that the one that has the bullet going through the apple?
Yes.
On the cover?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very cool cover.
Yeah, that is a cool cover. And I got to see them on the first tour, and I've been a fan ever since. And actually, they were a band that I saw live before I actually heard them. picked up the album after that, and it was great.
And I got Freak Show on vinyl at the Rockin' Pod.
Rockin' Pod last year, yeah. BC got it with Sonny Pooney. He hates that album.
Pooney don't like
Freak
it.
Show. He's like, why did you buy that? He was giving BC a hard time the whole time. But
I
which
still
that
love
is
it.
also a
Poor
good album. But
BC.
I've predominantly been listening to the first Bullet Boy self-titled album. Smooth Up In You, Ode to Joe, Hard as a Rock. Just a great album. So, you guys out there, check out these albums from everybody here. And, we'll post videos and stuff from all the bands that are out there. Because, Chris, you said Death Heaven just put a new video out, so we'll throw that up there. And David will throw Little Stones out there and, Little Striper. And like we said, we're definitely looking forward to the new Striper album. We'll do some Triumph for BB, some Saxon for BC, and some Bullet for My Valentine for Dylan. All right, fellas, here we go. Right into the crux of the episode here. And like I said before, David and I went back and forth, several times over. Actually, right, David, probably over the last couple months, really, right?
Yeah.
And just of different topics. We were bouncing them off one another. And, this one is kind of one that I don't even know who threw it out there. Probably you, David. And it seemed to, when it was thrown against the wall, it seemed like it stuck. And we are going to pick our top 7. We're going to have the Magnificent 7 of Metallica today. So we're all going to pick our top 7 Metallica songs and have a little discussion on them here. We will we will honor our guests here, and we will let you guys go first. But I'm going to say, when you give your first pick, everybody, just let everybody know your first exposure and how you got into Metallica, and we'll give your pick and we'll discuss it. You guys, whoever wants to go first.
Go, David.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I was 10 years old when Master of Puppets came out, and obviously that's a little young dealing with something like Metallica. But I knew who they were, saw them in all the magazines and everything. And then I guess when Injustice for All came out, the one video came on, and I remember it terrifying me. The first time I saw it, there was a show came on WTBS at night on Friday nights, I think called Night Tracks. It was basically 5 or 6 hours of rock videos. And so I would record those on the weekends and watch them. And I happened to be awake when they premiered the one video, like 1 a.m, and it terrified me. But I really got into them, like a lot of people, when the Black Album came out. And from that point, I kind of worked my way back. So with that said, my number 7 song is actually one off Hardwired to Self-Destruct, Moth into a Flame. I thought the new album, it was decent. I think if they narrowed it down to one album, it would have been a whole lot better. But nonetheless, they decided to make it a double album. And that is a song that I have on a playlist that I listen to a lot. And, they did that with Lady Gaga at the Grammys, and Hetfield's mic went out the whole show, the whole song. But there's a video online that you can watch them when they did a dress rehearsal of it. And, I mean, she's completely into it. And it was really interesting. But Moth into a Flame, my favorite song off the new album. And so I was trying to shake it up a little bit for discussion's sake. So Moth into a Flame is number 7.
Great pick. And that's a song that always makes my my list also. And actually, I think the first time that I heard that, I was with Dylan in my vehicle. Yeah. And we were going on the highway for something or other. And we both like the time change in the middle part is just kick ass. And I'm gonna say, if anybody else has a song that someone else picked, just call it out, and we'll just write that in, just for sake of time, so we're not discussing 42 different songs here tonight.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
One thing I was going to add about that song that I think is unique, I'm pretty sure it's probably written about somebody in Hollywood, and which that's a little bit different from Metallica's normal writing style. Normally it's,
right,
kind of apocalyptic, or nuclear war, or anger, or hate, revenge, and it's kind of broad. It doesn't seem to really be narrowed in on somebody. I really feel like this is based on somebody we probably see on TV a lot.
I picture Lindsay Lohan, this song being about her.
That's a good pick.
It's apparently, James Hetfield said it's about Amy Winehouse.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Same
okay.
thing.
Close enough.
Not even close. Yeah, this song, I think Metallica's always best when they're just jamming on a riff, and like the time change in the middle where they're just going into the riff and then goes right into a solo from Kirk Hammett, I think is Metallica at its finest. I love this song. First time I heard it, I was blown away. I'm like, I'm blown away! It's crazy.
Well, me and Steven are right on the same page because my number 7 is also Moth into a Flame. There's a video floating around from one of their concerts. There's like lasers going around as they do this song. They do it live is amazing. Probably my favorite, as Steven said, also my favorite song on the new album as well.
All right, so we got 2 moths already. Holy crap.
The moths
That's cool.
Are flaming.
The moths are flaming.
Yeah.
All right, BB's always flaming.
Ooh. Not there's anything wrong with that.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right. Well, first, I guess with my first early exposure, I'm like David. I mean, I'm a couple years younger than David. So in the really early days, I was really young. A buddy of mine in middle school was really into them, and I think the first time I ever heard them, I was staying over at his house one night, and he played Garage Days, and I wasn't really super into that. I mean, it was like, for me, man, give me Poison or Motley Crue or Zeppelin, whatever. So it was pretty heavy. But then it wasn't that long after that, and this was still before the Black Album came out. I just borrowed his cassette for Ride the Lightning, and it ended up hitting me, and I got really, really into that record, and yeah, still to this day, it's probably my favorite one, and it's probably a little bit of it because it was the first one, but also just because it's a great, great, great album of theirs. So I'm going to go with something off of that. This isn't I don't know if you guys were ranking songs going 7 down. I did not do that.
No.
Okay, good.
I'm personally not doing that. I'm just throwing them out there.
Okay. Well, so that being said, since I started with what hooked me into them was Ride the Lightning album, I'm going to go with the song that to this day still just knocks my dick in the dirt, and that's Creeping Death.
Yeah, Creeping Death. That's great. And I'm gonna. That's one of my picks also, Chris. I love the song. I love the. It's pretty much what Moses and the 7 plagues, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
What that is? About the pharaohs and everything. And I totally agree. That's a song that just like they do it live, and that's a song too. I don't know if it would piss off Metallica these days when they do the die part, and they do die, and then because Jason Newsted used to sing. I think he used to sing the whole song, didn't he?
He would
or at least that
sing
middle part,
he'd
right?
usually sing the third chorus and the die part.
Right.
And then he would do die, motherfucker, die. And they try to get away from that live now, but the crowd still does that.
I think Rob Trujillo does that sometimes. Because I think I saw like some of the like Death Magnetic tour when they did Creeping Death. He would do the motherfucker die part.
Does he? Because I
so.
think that's Chris. That is a great pick, and that's definitely one on my list too. So awesome pick. Anything else on Creeping Death, fellas?
Classic for a reason.
That's right.
That's true.
All right, BC, how about you? What do you got for us, my friend?
Jesus Christ. Let's see. When I first started getting Metallica, I do not remember what record store, but it was the Whiplash 12-inch single. I just like the cover. I'm like, Metallica. And you kind of heard about Metallica, but...
And it was a cool name.
It's a cool name. So, hey, I picked it up, and it was like... It had Jump in the Fire on it, Seek and Destroy, of course, Whiplash, and Phantom Lord Live. And that was my first exposure. And then the rest is history.
The rest is... This is the BC column.
Creeping Death was in my top 7, so I'm going to go with my second favorite off that one would be Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning. All right, cool.
And put the electric chair. That's another one that has some cool changes in it, I think. A lot of really cool riffs in that one.
Yeah, and Hailstorm does a great version of that too. That's on one of their EPs. Digital fellas, any love for Ride the Lightning out there?
I love it. I like that song, of course. Yeah, and I like the whole album. I mean, I probably could have picked. I mean, if we did a top, 20. It's probably going to make about half the cuts are going to make it on there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that absolutely.
Yeah, that was the album that I had to ixnay the most songs from, just to make it things a little interesting.
Okay. All right. Who do we got next? Dylan, who do you got going here?
How I first got into Metallica, my brother and I used to sleep in like a bedroom right next to my parents' bedroom. And my dad, being the insomniac he is, always would have music playing at night. So
Can't go to sleep without it.
So Rock 107 would always be playing Enter Sandman, and whenever it got to the Hush Little Baby, I would always shit my pants, like scared out of my mind when I was a kid. So that was my first experience with Metallica. But it's a band that definitely grew on me as time went. I ended up falling in love with them. And in honor of Enter Sandman making me shit my pants, I'm going to pick my first song off of the Black Album, Metallica, My Friend of Misery.
Great song.
It's a song that I first really experienced, like the intro to a year and a half in the life of Metallica documentary.
Right.
Like there's like this like metal work kind of thing going, like we're in like a steel mill, and the bass line to that's playing like as the intro to the thing, and I was like, this is a really cool bass line, and I ended up listening to the whole song, and originally it was supposed to be an instrumental. But then they made lyrics to it, and I think it really works as like a full-blown song.
All right, cool. David, you said you really enjoyed that show. What do you got on that one? Or song, rather.
I love that, that bass line, and it's got a great groove.
Yeah.
And, it's one of the ones, when I go back and listen to the Black Album, that I don't skip over. Like, there's a lot of songs on that album I skip over now, because I've heard them so much. But that is not one of those. That's an amazing song.
Yeah, it is a good. It's and it's deep in the album too. Is it the last song in the album?
It's not the last.
It's not the last, but it's like towards the end of the album, and you don't usually get that type of song towards the end of an album on a lot of albums. It kind of seems like they put a lot of, like, some bands will put more of a throwaway type song, or a song that like they're never gonna play live or something like that. But that's a really good pick for deep in the album thing. All right, BB, since Chris kind of killed us on our first picks here, which was absolutely gonna happen.
It'll happen
anyways.
to me too.
Yeah, and it's not gonna that's not gonna be the first or the last. Well, that's definitely the first, but not the last. BB, since actually you and I are in the same boat here, just give us your first Metallica memories here.
I'm like Dylan. My first Metallica memory was we're out partying in the woods back in 1991.
That wasn't my memory.
Oh, we were seniors in high school, and my one buddy had this Metallica shirt on. And, you got to hear these guys, and borrowed the CD, and ever since then it was really
Downhill.
It was downhill from there, because they just sucked me right in, and it was so much different than what was actually on the radio at that time, and I'm like, how, as I went back and found what they actually released, like, how did I miss these guys and all of the hoopla of the 80s? But
Right. Okay. And my first memories of Metallica are my buddy Rob, that we've had on the show several times. His sister, before any of us could drive, his sister used to drive us to school. He lived only down the street from me, so I'd walk down the street and meet those guys in the morning. And she had the Ride the Lightning cassette in the car. And I remember hearing that, and it was like so different from everything that was out there at the time. It was like what is this? And I specifically remember Creeping Death. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But I don't know why I didn't continue listening to them at that point. Because at that point, we were all about Kiss and Van Halen. And, Metallica really, I knew them, I knew the name. And I heard Battery, and I was like, wow, that's like I don't even know what that is. Like, that was like way beyond anything that we were even listening to. But like Creeping Death had a cool, crunch to it. And that was my first exposure to them, but I really didn't get into them until probably Injustice for All, because I remember vaguely Master of Puppets, and it didn't really settle on to me, but it was pretty much Injustice for All that I really started listening to Metallica. So, all right. Actually, BB, we'll let you pick, so you can steal someone else's pick now.
all right.
Round two.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out the song from Kill 'Em All. If you're not talking about Metallica and the way their fans are, you're not talking about, you can't not talk about Whiplash. It starts out kind of slow, it kicks in, it really kicks your ass, and it really captures of how Metallica fans are. You just see them in the mosh pit and their heads are swirling around, and you think they're going to actually end up with Whiplash.
Acting like maniacs.
Yeah, and I love the solo in the middle of it. They're going, and all of a sudden they stop. They go Whiplash, and he boom back into the solo.
Blows right into it. Yeah.
Right. I think that's the best part of the song.
That's really cool.
That's excellent. BC scratching out a pick.
I like Motorhead's version of it. If you've ever heard that, it's a different tempo, but it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I have never heard that
Well,
one.
I'll have to post that. Guys, what do you guys think? You Whiplash fans?
Yeah, I mean, I like the song.
Go ahead, Chris.
I like the song, and the Kill 'Em All as a whole, the album. I'm probably not as much into it as a lot of people are, but I find a lot of those thrash bands, like the big four, not even just the big four. Look outside, it's like Testament and all that. The very first records to me were not. Where most bands, it seems like their first record is their best. For those bands, I just feel like, I don't know, it was raw. It just seemed like they hadn't honed their craft yet. I still like the record, but for me, it's just not. I mean, it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Chris. When it comes to Kill 'Em All, I have a hard time getting past the production value of it. They didn't spend a lot of money on it. Now, with that said, I do have the remastered version. It has a little more punch than the original. But I think one of the things that's so interesting about that album, between that and Ride the Lightning, I feel like, Kill 'Em All is very frantic. It's almost a cross between thrash and punk rock at times, and what they're playing. And it seems like kind of on Ride the Lightning is when they started to find their way and start, be a little more cohesive in their songwriting. But there's definitely some songs on Kill 'Em All I like. I have one on my list, but
same here. I do have one on my list.
Not just it's just not my favorite album.
All right, cool. Well, David, go next. What do you got? I'm sorry, Dylan. Dylan had something to say about Whiplash.
No, I would.
Oh.
No, go ahead. David.
Okay, go ahead, David. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to go with one off of the Black Album that, like you said, is toward the end of Wolf and Man. I know the lyrics may seem a little corny to some people, but that's a song I really like. And I find myself now when I go back to the Black Album, My Friend of Misery, of Wolf and Man, Always Sad But True, and Don't Tread on Me are some of the songs I listen to. And I think it's because when I first got that album, that whole first side is basically singles, and then the second side, had Nothing Else Matters on it. But I in the last 5 or 6 years, there's something about this song I really gravitated to. Specifically, I love the version on S&M. I really like it. But of Wolf and Man off the Black Album, it's one I still listen to probably every couple of weeks whenever I listen to Metallica.
I love the popular Black Album songs. I think Wolf and Man is really awesome. The God That Failed is another really cool one off that. And it's weird that none of all these songs on this album could have been had some really good radio play, but they did. I wonder.
You can only put so many of them out there.
That's true. That's true.
Well, when Michael Jackson recorded Thriller, basically every song was recorded with the intent of being a single. And when Def Leppard recorded Hysteria, Mutt Lange told them, we're going to record a rock version of Thriller. And I think really Metallica recorded a thrash version of Thriller because every song on there could at least, break the top 40 of the rock charts back at the time. And that's just not something you're going to see on a lot of thrash metal albums, which I think
that ain't no thrash record.
But from a thrash band, that's not something you're going to see that often. And really, it came out in 91, and we talked about this in our podcast. 91 may have been the greatest year in the history of music as far as releases. You had U2, Octane Baby. I think Garth Brooks released one of his big albums. You had REM. I think it was either Out of Time or Automatic for the People. Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And so you had all these massive, massive albums that came out. And then this one still, is head and shoulders. Nevermind. And this one is still head and shoulders, up there. And so I really think you're right. It's one where every song could have potentially been a single, and that's really rare to find with any genre of music, much less a band that used to be primarily thrash putting out a heavy record.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is, and I think you guys are definitely right that any song, pretty much every song on that album could have been thrown out there. But with the length of time that they're out there, I think that time becomes a factor that you want to throw a song out there, but you need to let it get out there and let it breathe. And for as many songs they could have done that with, I don't think they really had the time to put out 10 or 12 songs as singles. But like I don't know, either Dylan or David said that they could have thrown any song out there from those albums. From that.
Here's a piece of trivia. Do you know what the band wanted to be the original single? Holier Than Thou.
Holier Than Thou.
I was.
That's one of my favorite ones on the record. And I'm like everybody we're all talking about here. I'm even though I like a lot of the Metallica hits, I do fall into that camp. On this album, that is not the case at all. I like the pick of Up a Wolf Man, Don't Tread on Me, Holier Than Thou. Those are probably my top three.
Yeah, and they're all good picks, and that's an album that there is not a bad song on there. Good pick, David. Good pick, David. I will go next, and I'm going to go with the original, the No Life Till Leather version of Hit the Lights. This comes out, it's just so raw sounding. You have Dave Hetfield playing lead guitar on it. You have Ron McGovney on bass. You don't have any, you don't have, Cliff Burton's not there yet, and Kirk Hammett, hasn't been brought in yet. Dave Mustaine has not been, not kicked out on his ass yet. But even that whole EP is just so raw. I mean, if you think Kill 'Em All sounds raw, I mean, this is just like raw to the 100th degree, I think. And but I think it's just such a fucking cranking version of this song, and the solos in it are ripping, and it just, it fades in at the beginning and just slams right through. I really love that song. I definitely wanted to hit one of the songs on there, and I think Hit the Lights, here's Metallica, boom, here we are. This is what we're about, at the time.
You didn't want to go with the Mechanics?
I did not.
Hey, I had Hit the Lights as well, except I had the version from Kill 'Em All. That's just that's just an amazing song.
That is really good.
I had it too.
Ooh, so that's
another repeat.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, great. I really enjoy that song. Who's up next? Dylan, you keep track of who's next, please.
Oh, okay. I wish you would have told me that before.
I know. You guys listen to the show. I get confused easily on who's supposed to be
You
next.
can go with Chris, BC, or me at this point.
BC.
I'm gonna go with off of Ride the Lightning for Whom the Bell is Toll.
Okay.
I mean, just every time you hear that song, it just pumps you right up. Like,
Who's that? The walkout? Who was that for the walkout song, Dad?
I don't know. I was just gonna say it's the song the Harpo did all the time.
Phillies?
Huh?
Phillies?
I don't know.
Was that all the?
what a,
Never mind.
Look it up, Dylan. Who picked that? BC. Talk about the song a little bit.
like you were saying, it threw me off when you started saying that. One of our favorite local bands always played that song, which just didn't help the night go on.
No. And that's a song that there's no guitar solo in.
No, you don't need it.
You know what? It's really funny because
As soon as you said walkout too, I thought you were talking about wrestling.
Literally just left my mind.
I thought wrestling too when he said that.
Yeah, you go. The guy
No, it
walked
was a
out.
picture. It was a picture
No.
from the Phillies.
Now do you
For whom the bell tolls for wrestling. I mean, like
I don't know.
Triple
Well,
H
David,
did-
you're a big wrestling guy. Does anybody walk out
Triple
to
H
the bell
does
tolls?
the game. Right?
No, I don't think so.
Because when you said walkout, when you hear walkout, I'm thinking wrestling.
Wrestling,
So I'm
yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
does the Undertaker come out to that? I'm like, I don't think so.
There are bells in his.
But BC, Nina Strauss was at WrestleMania. She played some.
Hey, real
Yeah,
quick.
David,
guy.
David was there.
Oh yeah.
I took my nephew. I haven't watched wrestling in like 15, 16 years, but I took my nephew to WrestleMania, and our seats, man, we were like 6 rows up from the top of the Superdome. So by the time We actually heard everything. It was probably actually over, but yeah. So I think his name is like Shinsuke Nakamura or whatever. Comes out and he has all these drum players, and there's just somebody, I mean, shredding on the ramp, and I can't see who it is, because we're so high up, and then her face was kind of obscured by her hair. But then I realized that was Nita Strauss, and man, I'm telling you, that was awesome. That was one of the cooler things I've seen.
Yeah, she's
amazing. Isn't
as amazing playing guitar as she is hot.
I think she's awesome in Alice Cooper's band.
She is a perfect fit.
yeah.
I think she was a better fit in Alice Cooper's band than Orianthi was.
I think so. She they do an extended version of Dirty Diamonds with Nita, and it's so good. Like they shred like nobody else during that song. But it was Jonathan Papelbon that
Jonathan Papelbon. There you go.
Hey, I have a random Jonathan Papelbon story.
Go ahead.
So he went to college at Mississippi State, which is a couple hours from me. And when I first got out of pharmacy school, me and a buddy of mine we went to a casino, and it was just random like Saturday night. And it's like 3 a.m, and I'm on a heater. I'm up like $1,000 or whatever, and he's like, I'm going to go get something to eat. And he goes to get something to eat, and he's at the buffet, and he texts me, he goes, hey, because I'm a big baseball fan, and so is he. You need to come to the buffet. And I'm like, man, I'm up a lot of money. I'm not hungry. And he's like, please, you need to come in here. So come around the corner. It's my friend Bobby, Jonathan Papelbon, and a guy passed out in the corner. And we had a few words with Papelbon, talked to him for a minute. But yeah, that's my random Jonathan Papelbon story. But yeah, I was scrolling through my phone as you said that, and saw that was his walkout song.
That's awesome, because we're all about random stories on this podcast. Every show we get into talking about something that has totally nothing to do with what we're talking about. So that's cool. Papelbon, cool. That was BC's pick,
that was BC.
Correct?
So
okay.
You have
and
Chris or me?
Chris, go ahead.
All right. Since I did say since we talked a lot about Kill 'Em All, and I said I did have one on there. I'm going to go with one that's kind of one of the obvious ones, but I think it's a great, great song, and that's Seek and Destroy.
Definitely a kick-ass song.
Totally
Probably one of the better ones on Kill 'Em All. A really, really awesome tune. And then when they play it live, they just blow it out of the water, as BC.
And for a long time, that was their closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you watch the live version on Live Shit Binge and Purge from Mexico City, they do like I want to say it's like a 17-minute version of that or something, where Hetfield goes through the crowd. But it's cool. You don't mind it when it's cool. But sometimes some bands overextend some songs and stuff like that. But like Seek and Destroy is great. It has the cool time changes in it. I think it's a really great song. Chris, awesome pick. What else you got on that song, Chris? Anything for us, buddy?
I don't really have much. I don't have much to go in depth on. I just I love the tune, man.
That's one song that they played with 5 different bassists. Because if you watch the Some Kind of Monster documentary, that's the one song that they played with the winner of the bass contest, the open bass auditions. That
they did like in that little basement thing or whatever.
So they played it with all the other bassists plus Bob Rock, who technically played with them for a bit. And the one female, I think her name was Elena, they said.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was definitely cool. All right, awesome pick, Chris. That was just outside of my top picks here. Dylan, what do you got next?
Well, I think I'm going to keep on with the Kill 'Em All train, since that seems to be everybody's station that they want to keep.
BC's going to lose. Oh, by the way, Seek and Destroy was one of BC's picks too. So BC, we're whittling it down.
BC has like one pick left.
I have one pick in my original 7. So.
I have to go with my favorite song off that album, No Remorse. I think it shows this.
BC has no picks.
I think it shows this melodic side, much like Jump in the Fire on that album. There's a lot of really cool time changes in it, and I think it's a really awesome song that just like it shows a band moving to the next level with all the different changes in it. So yeah, No Remorse. Sorry, BC.
BC, since you picked it, you can talk about it now too. What do you got?
No. You got confused. I said, no, thank God.
Oh, thank
Oh, you didn't?
Okay.
Oh, it wasn't one of your
saved them.
picks. Oh, okay.
I said, I
You're
got.
welcome, BC.
I have one pick out of my top 7 that nobody else picked. So.
Oh, okay. The way you
Not yet,
reacted,
not
we
yet.
thought that was one of them.
No, I said, oh, thank
I'm gonna look at your list so I
okay.
don't take it.
Oh, so it
accidentally.
was a relief look there.
I thought you were drowning.
No remorse. Anybody else got anything on that?
It's just a. How can you go wrong?
See, Dylan, no one else has anything on, so it couldn't have been that
No
good.
remorse on that pick.
No remorse.
No remorse on no remorse.
No, really
remorse
good
on
pick.
no-
That's another song that I do like the time changes in. Really solid pick. Dylan, who's up next? Work with us.
It's sky's the limit at this point.
Let BC pick next. I know he just went recently, but he's been because his next pick should actually be like
his
the
last.
hidden gem. So go ahead, BC.
I'm gonna go off Kill 'Em All, Jump in the Fire. I mean, it was like that was on the first single I ever heard from Metallica, and it just sticks in your head. Jump in the fire.
Yeah. Definitely good tune.
Every arsonist out there listens to it, so it's like
keeps you in a
Keeps
job.
keeps them in.
That-
Yeah.
So come on.
That keeps you guys in business, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Job security.
But I mean, to me, that was one of the first 3 songs I've ever heard from Metallica, so it always sticks with me.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, it always seems like somehow the first thing you hear, like kind of always sticks with you.
It was that Seek and Destroy and Whiplash.
Good. BC's all about the old school Maiden. Maiden, right? Metallica stuff.
He is about.
Dylan, who do we got next?
Anybody but BC.
All right, let's go with BB. BB's only got. Go ahead,
Couple
BB.
scribbles. I only got a couple scribbles. I'm gonna throw out Master of Puppets, but I'm gonna throw it out from the S&M
We don't want to hear
CD.
Yeah, whatever
We don't want to hear about your home.
BC, that's Sympathy and Metallica because they did it with
okay.
the San Francisco Symphony.
So would I be able to still pick the regular version?
Yes, because this is a lot better than the original version.
Ah, come on.
No, but I love how the Symphony and the audience they sing
the symphony.
symphony.
The symphony, not the
They
symphony.
sing together.
We
I love
have
that.
sympathy for BC. We let the symphony play music.
A lot of sympathy for BC.
Oh, goddamn.
But yeah, I love how they do that. The
That
audience is screaming the chorus. You know,
That did come
James
up.
stops singing and they're just screaming away, and the violins and the horns are in the background. I just think the way they do this Master of Puppets song is mind blowing on that album.
Very cool. Hey, David and Chris, what's your guys' thoughts on Metallica S&M?
I actually like the album a lot, and I've got a version of a song coming up off that album. And you know, when they started doing this, they started the fad. You know, they were the first ones to do it. You know, now you've had Kiss do it, the Scorpions.
Kiss did it
I think
before.
Creeps may have done it. You know, and now it's just kind of it's a cliche thing to do, and you know, as most things, probably isn't as good as the original. And I feel like when Metallica did it, I mean, they went all in on it, and I don't think it was like something half-hearted. And to me, there's a couple. I agree with Vivi. There's a couple of songs on there that I think are the definitive versions of those songs. You know, they just sound great, and it's never, the orchestra is never overpowering. To me, it's just it's mixed perfectly, and like you said, you have the participation from the crowd, and I really like the album.
I agree. I think it's super, super cool. And it was a creative thing to do, you know, and I'm all about creativity. So, and I will say too, just to go and throw this one out too, that's not that version, but that song is on my list.
Yep, mine as well.
It's a classic song, and I think the symphony definitely adds a level to it. That's really
And the
interesting.
production on that album is so crisp. It's
it has to
like
be, or
it's
else
oof.
Yeah,
Definitely.
The orchestra would definitely be lost in the mix if it wasn't a good production of it. And I enjoy that too. I thought it was cool, and like David said, it was. I think they were the first ones to do it. Here's my Kiss portion of the show.
No, boy.
The Kiss Symphony one just was. I don't know. I think it was a fucking disaster. I liked when they did the songs without the symphony. The coolest thing about that, I
So
think,
you liked
was
it when Kiss did just a regular concert?
yeah, but it was cool how the symphony was They all had makeup on, Kiss makeup on. That was kind of cool.
I like that they were in the background. But.
I don't think it was their best effort, but the Metallica one is great. And I like that Metallica did theirs in like a theater. It wasn't a huge, arena or a big stadium. It was kind of like an intimate show, I think, kind of. We have a venue by us, you guys. It's called the Kirby Center. We've seen a ton of shows there, and it's comparable to the place that Metallica did S&M there, and it was cool. And you could tell that the guys in the band were totally into it. They were invested in this show, and it was just it came out great, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the final album to feature Jason Newsted on bass.
True.
Was it really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Chris picked that one also, Dylan.
Okay.
By the way.
He picked regular Master Puppets, so we're waiting on talking about regular Master Puppets. I think.
Oh, okay. I thought Chris said he picked the one from S&M. I'm sorry.
No, I did the regular one. I mean,
okay. I'm sorry.
There's not a lot I would really add, or anything I would say in particular. I just think the song's such a cool, almost like a quintessential Metallica song. I mean, I love when it slows down a little after the 3-minute mark. I guess around the 3.5 mark. Just the slow picking. I just think that song's so cool. That, and I believe that one. I know Sanitarium, but I believe that one as well was on the Paradise Lost docs, or at least the first one, the West Memphis 3. And when I hear these songs, I can't help but think of that documentary every time. Just, I don't know, especially Sanitarium.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And actually, we might as well talk about the regular one. Chris, we'll let this be your pick. Great song and another title track. I think it's great. And Chris, you said you like when it goes slower. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of disagree with you on that. I like when Metallica used to do it in kind of medley. They would get to that part and then they would stop and they would go into something else and then they would come back to the rest of the song. I think there's a version of that on Live Shit Binge and Purge, I think, where they used to not do the whole Master of Puppets song. I'm drawing a blank. I think it's on that. But, it's a great song. And Dylan argues with me all the time. I'm not a huge fan of Master of Puppets. I heard a gasp there. Who was that?
That was me.
That was unusual though to
It's
hear
their
that.
best album, and you're wrong for not thinking it.
I mean that album along with Rain and Blood. I mean, those are usually considered like the two thrash masterpieces.
The seminal.
See, I'm always different.
But I do realize you don't have to like it just because people say it's great. I get that. So,
That might be one of the reasons why I don't like it as much as I do.
Yeah. Hipster or whatever.
But it is a great song. I think it is probably the strongest song on that album. I really, and you know what is there anybody else here think of the movie Old School whenever they hear Master of Puppets?
Where they're in the van and
Where they're in the van and they're picking up the guys.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I remember that now.
Every time I hear that, I always think of that. And it's funny because my partner at the firehouse, he's not a huge music fan, but he knows different songs and stuff. And like every time if I'll be in the kitchen and I'll play a playlist and Master Puppets will come on, he'll stick his head in. Fucking Old School, man.
It's my favorite song by them, and it's the album I absolutely love. I just recently got the remastered with the bonus tracks, and it sounds really great. But it's one of those albums like if let's say an alien came down to Earth and they were like, "Hey, what's alternative music?" I'd give them an REM album. If they were like, "What's hair metal?" I'd give them a Poison album. If they're like, "What's thrash?" It would be Master of Puppets. They feel like this is kind of where they hit their sweet spot as far as their playing, and I love it. Disposable Heroes, another great song on there. Of course, with the first three are classics as well. But yeah, that was me gasping. I didn't realize it was that loud.
I heard it.
I was shocked. I was like, "What?" Oh man!
And it's awesome because when this episode comes out, Stephen Michael's going to be fucking listening to it, and he's going to pause the episode and he's going to friggin' text me. Are you out of your fucking mind? Because he always calls me out on all my shit. Love it.
Okay, so whose picks were Master of Puppets? So I keep that straight.
Chris and BB, right?
And I had them as well.
And Dave. Okay. Oh, David had them too. Okay.
Everybody.
But mine was the S&M.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So then let's go back to Dylan.
Okay. I'm going to go with Symphony of Metallica since we started with that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with one of the original songs that they made especially for that, No Leaf Clover. It's a really cool, different song for Metallica, and I think it really shows the culmination of adding a symphony to Metallica's sound. There's like some really cool riffing, and I really love when the chorus, when James Hetfield's voice kind of goes to like a more of like a like that was a terrible impression of it.
Like the old muffled.
Yeah, and it's a cool little effect, and I love the simple solo in it, and it really works for the song. And I love the like it's cool. It's a fun song.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more mellow than what you expect out of Metallica's wheelhouse.
It's different,
But
that's why I like it.
exactly.
But it works though with that whole symphony and the atmosphere.
And I like falsetto James Hetfield. When it comes to
Thanks for demonstrating that, Dylan.
yeah.
No Leaf Clover, you guys. What do you guys think?
I wish they would record it, in a studio, and let's see what it sounds like that way.
Absolutely. That would be cool.
That'd be different.
That would definitely be cool. Absolutely. All right, good pick, Dylan. I will go next. I guess Dylan's pointing at me. I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm probably gonna be the only person. I don't know. I suspect maybe Chris may, but maybe not. Probably not how he gave his intro. I'm gonna pick one from Saint Anger.
I thought you were going to say Lulu.
No.
Well, now we. Oh boy, David knows this. Guys, y'all can kill me on this, but I like Lulu. I like it. I don't like Saint Anger. I like Lulu, and I just think that Junior Dad is an amazing song. I love Brandenburg Gate, but I'm gonna stop now because y'all end up like.
Oh, he actually knows the names of the song.
I was gonna say that he actually knows the names.
I mean, I know those the names too.
And I can honestly say that, and I usually don't let peer pressure and other people's thoughts get into my head and shit. I've never actually even listened to that fucking album because I anticipate it to suck so bad. Maybe one of these days I'll actually throw it on and listen to it. But my pick this
But
time.
I like Lou Reed.
See, I besides Walk on the Wild Side, I couldn't name another
When
song.
you start an album with "I would cut my legs and tits off" when I think of Boris Karloff and Kinski in the dark of the moon, you know you're in for a ride.
Man, that's a good song though. But anyway,
That's not the name of the song, is it?
I'm going to be fighting a battle I cannot win. So let's get back to Saint Anger.
Okay,
Yeah, what's your pick?
Saint Anger. I picked Dirty Window.
That is a good song.
I love that song. I just wish that they started out with the drums that sound like he's just like bouncing it off of some, I don't know what
There's
the
a
fuck he's
basketball bouncing
of.
off the snare drum.
But
Boing, boing,
if they
boing.
cut out that da-da-da-da-da-da-da at the beginning and just went into the main riff, listen to the riff in that song. It is a monster fucking Metallica. I was going to say Megadeth.
Yeah.
Metallica riff. And
Come on.
man, if they did that song and they put a solo in that song, it would just be like one of the best Metallica songs ever. But I still, this song will always be in my top 7 Metallica songs. Dirty Window, I absolutely fucking love it. And I can even disregard the shitty drum sound on this song.
Aren't you glad that you revisited?
I am. I have Dylan to thank for that.
I tried.
Well, actually, you can go on iTunes, and I think they may have it on Spotify as well. It's a some kind of monster EP, and they don't have that song on there, but they do have the song "Some Kind of Monster," and they've gone in and edited out that snare drum, and it actually sounds really good. And I wish they would do that, with Dirty Windows.
The rest of the album.
Do it the whole album.
They did it with the whole
Yeah,
album.
yeah, the whole album.
I know that there's like a fan edit on like YouTube of the whole album with like the snare.
Really?
Like
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's
Because
really interesting.
and actually, and just to kind of keep the subject the same, but change it a little bit. There's a version out there of
I
Blackened
knew you were
from
gonna say
and Justice for All also that you could actually hear bass in it, and it sounds like a totally different song, and it's fucking
Oh,
excellent.
there's an entire version of that album. It's called "Injustice for Jason," where
Oh, really?
people have put the you
Put the
can
bass right
find it
in
on
the whole
YouTube on YouTube. But yeah, they have added bass to the songs, and it sounds great.
I'm gonna have to write that down.
Bass is where it's at, everybody.
Right.
Dirty Window is my pick right there. Let's go back to BB.
All right. My next one is gonna go with, how about 2x4 from Load? I know Load and Reload are tough for the Metallica fans, but I love Hetfield's voice in this album. 2x4, the drums and the guitar in the beginning are just amazing, and I really think it's like that song. It has some kind of like Sabbath sound to it.
Yeah, it does have like kind of like that circus like
Yeah.
riff, like a trapeze kind of
Right.
riff. That's like almost like I don't want to say Sabracadabra, but it's.
My feelings on Load and Reload are kind of the feelings that a lot of people have about Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. I think if they took the best songs from both of them and smashed them into one album, I think you would have one like kick-ass album. You know, just my thoughts out there. What do you guys think?
Well, I love that. I love that song, and I think it's a great pick. And I don't dump on Load as much as a lot of other people do. I think it's got some good songs on it.
He doesn't dump on Load.
You can say.
You know, my biggest problem with these albums and all, and it's really just modern day Metallica, period. And he didn't do it as much on the last album. Now they went a little bit heavier, but when they slowed the tempo, my biggest problem is, and I never heard anybody talk about this, but Hetfield didn't do this when they were heavy, but now it's like every other damn word is rah, and I hate that shit.
I know what you mean.
So much. I mean, I can't put into words how much I hate it. And he does it on every other word. So because of that, those albums are unlistenable to me.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And
It's true,
2x4
it's
was
true.
actually one of my picks also. We're getting down. Let's
was on
do,
my
who do we got next, Dylan?
Well,
Who's got the least
I
amount?
think Chris
Are we all
and
tied?
I think Chris and I have 3 right now.
Okay, Chris, go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to throw one that's going to probably be a little bit different. I'm sure nobody is going to join me on this one, but I'm sure there'll at least be some appreciation for it. I'm going to go off of Master of Puppets. I'm going with Orion.
There you go.
I love that song. I think it's a beautiful piece of music. Still got a heavy element to it, but it's so cool when it got a little bit backward minutes when it just breaks. I don't know. I've always loved that, and I think what's the movie they did with the kid that's running around and doesn't make any sense?
Through the Never.
Through the Never, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater, and I already liked the songs, but when I saw them, when they're all sitting on the stools and they're playing that song, it just blew me away, and it made me love the song even more.
That is my favorite Metallica instrumental. I am in complete agreement with you. I think that scene in the movie is probably my favorite. I was so pumped when I saw it was on the soundtrack because I'm like, this song doesn't get the respect it deserves because it's so good.
Well, I'm glad you feel the same way.
It's off a great album. So.
It's like, I love that riff. Like, it's such a simple riff, but like, I love when they're just like jamming on a riff. And that's like,
the bass line is cool.
That bass line is like, that shows Cliff Burton at his best.
And that it kind of reminds me of a situation. Let's say Randy Rhoads. What if Randy Rhoads is still alive? What if Cliff Burton never got killed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, no doubt.
What would Metallica be like if Cliff Burton did get killed?
it's a question. It's definitely a tough one to think about.
What if Randy Rhoads did get killed?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much conjecture out there of, you know,
What if Dave Mustaine did make Metallica?
Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, John Bonham. You know, there's a whole Ronnie James Dio, a whole gamut of stuff out there. But what I will say to you guys, I know we've had actually quite a few picks off of Master of Puppets lately. What I will do is, after we're done with this podcast, probably not tonight, but within the next few days, I will revisit Master of Puppets.
It's good.
Throw my headphones on, listen to it front to back, hopefully uninterrupted. Although that's almost next to impossible to fucking happen. But I will do my best, and I'll give you guys maybe a revised review.
There's not a bad song on it. I know you don't like The Thing That Should Not Be, but it is a really good song, and it's much better than Escape on Ride the Lightning, which is your favorite album. Like, if you were to do your stupid point system, I feel like Master of Puppets would rank higher than Ride the Lightning.
Wow.
Well, number one, it's not a stupid point system.
I agree.
See, David agrees with me.
They're weird numbers. Just do 1 to 5.
No,
you don't have to
no,
do 5
no,
to 10.
no. That's
like,
no.
That's
That
too much
doesn't
math.
because it doesn't work out
too
good.
much
It
math.
doesn't work out the way it should that way. That's.
It is, but that is a really good point, though. I mean, if I put Ride the Lightning just above Master of Things, very, very slightly.
Thank you.
But if I broke them down by points, I don't know. It could surprise me. David, I've kind of incorporated
It
the point system on some things that I've had a tough time with, and I've surprised myself.
And actually, Escape could be the deal breaker on that
That's what
in
I'm
the point
telling
system.
you. That's what I'm telling you.
All right, here's what I'll do. I'll listen to Master Puppets,
do the
and I
points.
will listen to Ride the Lightning. I will do the points. I won't change the system, and I'll let you guys know how it comes out, unless Master Puppets comes out.
Fair enough.
No, I will. I'll do that. I'll do that. Cool. Orion is cool. Very cool because they named a festival off of that. Correct.
The Ryan music
Right?
and more.
All right. Very cool. Dylan, how are we on picks?
I got 1, and then that's 4 for everybody.
All right. Go ahead.
I think I'm going to keep with the Master of Puppets since we're sending the love to it with my favorite song from Metallica of all time, Leper Messiah.
Great tune.
First time I heard this song, I was blown away that this was not a popular song. Has all, like everything you want in Metallica, like a cool sped up fast part, some awesome solo, like a really cool riff, some really good lyrics about crappy religious televangelists and like these like born again people. It's a really cool song.
I'm not a Master Puppets guy, so someone else can talk. Yet, I'll say yet. I haven't listened to it all the way through. Go ahead, Chris.
I love that song, man. I love it. I don't know. It's a different kind of feel to it. That riff and all. I don't know. I always loved that one too. And that one and Disposable Heroes. I think when I was a kid and I first started listening to it, those are the two probably got me almost more than any of them on the whole record.
Yeah, I would have to let Disposable Heroes slightly edge out Leper Messiah, but it's still a good song. There's not a bad song on that album.
And Disposable Heroes may or may not be making an appearance later on.
You never know. You never know. It may be a repeat somewhere. All right. So we're all tied at 4 here, right? Correct. We'll start right at the top. David, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to introduce this song the same way James Hetfield does every time I've seen him.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
You want heavy, Metallica gives you heavy, baby. Sad But True off of the Black Album. Just one of the great grooves and riffs of all time, in my opinion. And it made Kid Rock a lot of money as well. But I think that should have been the first single, honestly, off of the Black Album.
I will say I am in 100% absolute agreement with you. That was one of my picks, and you totally ruined it for me, David, because I was gonna say you want heavy. Metallica gives you heavy, baby. But great. I love that song. I just when they do it live, I wish they would do it at the speed that they do it on the album. It's kind of like a funeral dirge or something when they do it live. They make it really heavier live.
It was picked up when we saw them on this last tour.
It was. But, I mean, David, great pick. It is definitely, I love the solo in that song. I think it's just fucking excellent. Awesome pick.
I love that one drum part with the
Yeah.
like it's
Hate.
so good.
Here's a funny way to look at the Black Album. Enter Sandman was released in July of 1991. Sad But True was released in February of 1993.
Wow, so they had
they're just releasing 91, 90. They released 2 in 91, 2 in 92, and then 1 in 93. So that's how long that Black Album was out there.
Right. So, and that's what we talked about before. Just the amount of time you need to. But you don't know what was released between them, though, right? Or were they released one and then the other? You know what I mean? Was there like something in between? You know what I mean?
Was that the
So there may have been.
That's how
they released 2 a year?
Yeah, they released Sandman in July and October. It was Unforgiven.
And they
Right. But like it wasn't Sandman and then Sad But True. But you have stuff in between.
Right.
But you have a 3-year, 2.5, 3 year period where they're releasing these songs, and like we said, they needed
That
room
album
to
is still out
breathe
there,
and get out there.
And they owe it all to Spinal Tap with their Smell the Glove album. It's all Spinal Tap.
I don't know what that means, Dylan.
I do.
Spinal Tap. The album cover was so raunchy that they just made it black.
Oh, okay.
And it was the Smell the Glove album.
I tell you what, I'm going to make a confession right here on the podcast. I've never seen Spinal Tap.
Oh my God!
Man, you got to see that.
I've never watched Spinal Tap.
Hilarious movie.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
I've seen clips here and there,
These guys are loving.
and I know the rest, the references, but I honestly have never seen that movie.
And listen, I actually had a Spinal Tap moment happen when I was playing at in Scranton. I was setting up my amp, and all of a sudden I got a baseball game broadcast. It picked it up on my amp, and it was like playing a baseball game, just like in. I think they're playing the Air Force Base, right? And they start getting the radio.
All right.
Yeah.
I can and now I'll say I'll watch Spinal Tap now too. So now I gotta listen to fucking Master of Puppets and watch Spinal Tap.
So good.
See, you guys, I give you guys homework. Now I have homework to do.
Hey, Saul's brother's in Spinal Tap from Better Call Saul. Chuck McGill.
Chuck McGill.
Shit.
What were we talking about? Said but true. Okay. Welcome to the Potter in the Hell podcast, Chris and Dave.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Sorry, guys.
This is a typical show for me. All right, who we got next, Dylan? What's up?
BC, BB, me, or Chris?
Okay, BC. We'll let you go since you've been getting boned for the last couple here.
My whole list is gone. I have nothing to give.
Are you done?
No, I'm only kidding. Gonna go back to Ride the Lightning with Fade to Black.
Fade is good. Fade
I mean, it
is
starts
good.
off nice.
Not a fun song for James Hetfield.
No, nice and mellow, and I just like the way it builds up.
Just another one of their great tunes.
Fans were pissed
My
when
list
they
as well.
Chris has it too. All right, so let's Chris and BC duke it out with Fade to Black.
That was one of those early songs that grabbed me. And just like I said, it was that cassette tape that my buddy let me borrow. Now, that was one of that's track 2, right? So, I mean, early on,
Track 4,
3.
actually.
So, but early on, man, that one hooked me. And, I love that.
And the only reason I know it's track 4 is because they have a lot of their building songs as track 4. Like one is track 4 on Injustice.
Yeah.
Welcome Home Sanitarium's on Master Puppets. This one's on Ride the Lightning. So like their songs that start slow and then build to a crescendo are usually track 4. Cool. Fun fact.
Never thought about that.
No, I was just gonna say that. Never thought.
This is me just being obsessed with Metallica.
Yeah,
for a long time.
fans were actually...
No, you're not crazy. That's kind of a common thing. A lot of times when you see Metallica give their song title list before the album comes out, everybody's like, well, number 4 is going to be the ballad, and of course they didn't have one on Hardwired to Self-Destruct, but I believe on Death Magnetic, The Day That Never Comes. Is that number 4?
I think so. And the Unforgiven 1 and 2 are number 4 on the Black Album and Reload.
There you go. And on the...
Until It Sleeps.
See, in the No Life to Leather thing came out, Seek and Destroy. That's their ballad on that. On their ballad on that one.
These guys got a lot of that.
But great pick. A lot of fans were pissed off when they came out with that song because they thought they were, being a mellow band, with the softness of the song. But I mean, they definitely made up for it when once it kicked in.
And James Hetfield showed how metal he really was when he burst into flames on stage during the performance of Fade to Black.
Yeah, that's scary as fuck.
And especially scary after Guns N' Roses dropped the ball and didn't play a full freaking set.
Yeah,
Guns N' Roses coming.
Yeah. And that's cool. I know you guys are familiar with that, and it was. And I don't know if it was Lars or James that said, like Guns N' Roses that night could have been the heroes of the night. They could have came out and played a kick-ass 2.5-3 hour set, and Axl had quotations problems with his microphone, threw the microphone out, and walked out the fucking stage. Like really?
Off the subject, have you guys seen that St. Louis show?
No.
I mean the Guns N' Roses, because I've got that on DVD, and it's crazy watching them when the Guns N' Roses just keep kind of peeking their head around the corner, looking out at all the chaos going on, and they're just panic on their faces.
Oh, really?
How are we getting
it is crazy. But just seeing Axl up there just pointing, that guy, get that guy right there.
in a crowd of thousands.
Yeah.
Axel fucking it up for everybody. Still. Fade to Black, awesome pick, you guys. Who we got next, Dylan?
BB or me?
BB.
All right. Well, since we already talked about it several times, I think both of our guests have mentioned it. I'm going to throw out Disposable Heroes off of Master of Puppets.
All right, well, we're killing two birds here.
That's my pick as well.
See,
my pick
we're
as well.
dropping everybody. Bloop, bloop,
Wow.
bloop, bloop,
Back to the front.
You listen to these lyrics, and I really I can't not think of all those guys that went to Vietnam. How it just seems like the country just disregarded them and just kind of threw them out there and as like, I don't know if I want to say target practice, but how they just threw them to the
Spitting on them, getting out
yeah,
the place.
and then they come back and like they don't even give two shits. You know what I mean? I think really this song speaks about Vietnam and how they disregarded the troops and how they should have came home as heroes and instead they were spit on. And
It's definitely a quintessential thrash song. The time changes in that song are just amazing, and some of the best solo work I think from Kirk Hammett in Disposable Heroes.
right.
I had to.
But and lyrically, one of the heaviest songs they've ever done.
Absolutely.
I had to listen to it.
It's good. I think it's probably in my top 5, thrash songs. It just kicks ass.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta say, you guys, like, seriously, like, I just, like, totally, like, fucking blank out when shit from Master of Puppets comes up. I don't know what it is. I have some kind of mental block for
I think it's because
Master
you
of
know your
Puppets.
son likes it and you just don't
No,
like to
no,
bring it
no.
up.
Just don't want to do
It doesn't help, but no.
Oh, thanks.
But, I
have good
always
taste
thought
in
that
it.
even before you were actually, born. I have to, like I said, I will vow to listen to that. And I gotta say, Dylan gave me his list, like he told me like 2 weeks ago, but I forgot what it was. So I had him text me today, and I put it on my playlist of the songs that I had. I don't know, it still didn't do much for me, but I'll give it another shot. I will. It's Metallica, so it's not bad.
Yeah, okay. Well,
All right, sorry.
that's 5 picks for everybody.
All right, we are more than halfway through here, so at this time we're going to take a little Metallica break, maybe, and do our hidden gems. All right, our hidden gems, we'll give our esteemed guests a little break in the action here to start out with, and we'll go into the hidden gems, and we'll let Dylan pick first.
So my hidden gems this week, they're off of an album, and this is a series of albums that always comes out that's really interesting to see what they choose. It's the Punk Goes series, and this one's off of Punk Goes Metal from 2000. 2 tracks I'm keying in on. My Michelle, done by AFI, who you may know, Dad, as the lead singer of AFI was the lead singer of Dream Car.
Okay.
And the Atari's version
I don't know the names, but
of I Remember You by Skid Row. And it's actually kind of a punkish version of it where they pick up the tempo, and it's really cool. The My Michelle version, actually, they have like gang vocal chorus, and it's really interesting to hear. They're really cool versions of the songs. Definitely check them out if you're into more alternative type stuff, and they're really cool.
what was the first one?
The first one was My Michelle by AFI.
And the second one was?
I Remember You by the Ataris.
Oh, okay.
I almost opened
Not the
with Ataris.
Coleco or the Nintendo, the Ataris.
Oh, the Atari. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sega. All right, cool. Good picks, Dylan. BC.
I keep going back to these guys throughout time. I mean, they're no longer around. Not that they're dead, but they're not a band. They're not a
They're not
band.
seen anymore.
Now
They're not
they're
a scene
dead.
anymore, brother. The Sleebies from Netherlands.
Who?
Sleazebees.
Oh, I thought you said the Sleepies. Who the fuck are the Sleepies?
Sleaze
Speak the fuck up, BC.
Oh my god.
The Sleepy. Who the fuck are the Sleepies?
Sleepies.
All right. Not the Sleepies, Sleazebees.
Not the Grumpies or the
Grumpies or the
Bashfuls.
Dopies or the Docs.
But I mean, they never got a really fair game anywhere else than
Good stuff, though.
their
Real
own
good
line.
stuff.
Real good stuff. And unfortunately, they gave it up in the late 90s.
Good pick, you guys. Yeah, out there, check out the Sleepies. No, I mean Sleazebees. check those guys out.
Seven Dwarfs.
All right, Chris, I'm sure you're going to have something interesting for us. What do you got, buddy?
I'm going to just go. Actually, I was thinking I'm going to go just since we've kind of gone a little bit metal. I thought I'd go with my probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite metal band of all time. And I just thought I'd just pick kind of a random song, and that's Life of Agony. And I'm going with the song How It Would Be off the album Ugly. And I hear silence. There's nobody a Life of Agony fan.
I'm writing it down. Life of Agony. What was the name of the song?
How It Would Be.
How It Would Be. We'll have to check those.
That's why this is the hidden
Yeah, I
gem.
really don't know. Did none of y'all really know Life of Agony? I mean, serious.
No, I know of them. I've not really listened to them.
I've heard them a few times, but I can't say I really listened to them before.
We will definitely have.
You might want to check out too just the first record, just while we're talking about it. Especially this was off the second one, but the first record it's called River Runs Red, and it's got elements of hardcore. I mean, it's more just a metal record. It's got some hardcore in it, and it's kind of, I guess you could say, it tells a story, kind of a concept, and it's just it's basically a tale of suicide. It's a dark record, but it's a great record.
We'll definitely have to check those guys out. Yeah, like I said, I've heard of them, but I've never. I've probably heard them, but I will definitely check them out. I got a lot. You guys, cool. I'm getting like freaking crazy homework here today. BB.
It's about time, right?
I don't know shit.
Well, since we're talking about Metallica, let's throw out the band Newstead.
There you go.
Their 2013 album Heavy Metal Music. It goes great with this episode. If you guys have not heard these guys, this album is fantastic.
It's heavy.
It is very heavy.
I think it's better than anything since the Black Album. I mean, I seriously. I think
it's a really fantastic album. And anybody who out there has not actually listened to this, if you're a Metallica fan, please pick this up, listen to it. It will do it justice.
For all.
Justice for all. Yeah, Newstead really he really brought what he brings to Metallica to his own band, and just the heaviness of this album, and really kicks ass.
Yeah, that one I do know. I have that on CD somewhere, and great, good pick. Very heavy album. And Chris, you may be onto something there that it rivals. It does. There's some really heavy, good songs on there though. It's not just
I mean. People have asked, they've wondered. I mean, it makes you kind of wonder what. And I don't know that it really would have changed Metallica if they had stayed in there, because Lars and James are going to want to do what they want to do. But it does kind of make you think that if he had stayed in there, had to get a little bit of input,
Right. What could they have put out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Good pick, BB. David, what do you got for me, my friend?
The opening song off the debut album from Izzy Stradlin and the Juju Hounds, the song called Somebody's Knocking. And Shuffle It All was the single that got all the airplay, but Somebody's Knocking is by far the best song on the album. It has some of that Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street type Rolling Stones swagger to it. And just great lyrics, great playing by Izzy Stradlin. Song I listen to a lot. Really good tune.
All right,
that's
cool.
a good album.
I have heard some of the Izzy Stradlin stuff. Not that I could name it, but kind of like more of a funky type feel to him, right?
Well, the thing is, I mean, this album came out I think in like '93, so it was right after he left and was sobered up, and it was a real band album. I believe Jimmy Ashhurst was in it, who later went on to be in Buck Cherry and did some side projects with some members of the Black Crowes. I think he played bass on it. But after that, his albums were basically just him recording everything and I think playing the instruments. And to be honest with you, they're not that great. But this album is really good. Has this kind of mid '70s Stone swagger on a few songs, and it has some just straight up punk songs on it. Izzy was a big Stones and Aerosmith fan, and he also liked punk rock. And so, he was definitely the brains behind Appetite for Destruction and kind of, the architect of the early part of their career. And you can definitely hear that in this album. The second album he did, I think it's called 117 Degrees. It's not bad, but then after that, it's just, I don't think his heart's in it. So, but Somebody's Knocking, it's a great song to listen to. A good song to listen to, crack open a beer.
And we're all about cracking a beer here at the Potter Than Hell podcast. Good pick. Yeah, and getting back to Izzy, I think that he had a lot to do with the early sound. Like, listen to the songs that they recorded with him that he sang on the Use Your Illusions albums. I think there's some of the coolest stuff that's on those albums.
I agree. Dust and Bones, 14 Years. Just amazing songs, and I was glad. I can't remember which one of them made that live era album, which was really cool. But I love hearing him sing, and it's just a shame he's not back with them. I think it would have been cool to see it for sure.
Yeah, I think Dust and Bones is the one that made it from the.
I want to say it's 14 years.
14 years?
I think it's 14 years.
Was it? All right, look that up, Dylan, while I'm doing my gym here. Yeah. Great pick, David. Very cool, Izzy and the Juju Hounds. My pick this week is going to be a band BC and I have seen. Maybe you have seen them too. It's going to be the band Saliva, and it's going to be just a song. It's going to be the song called Two Steps Back from the 2004 release, Survival of the Sickest. Great song. Just a good, straight out hard rock song from a great album. And I just that's a song also that when I do a playlist that it always makes that. So check that out there. It's called Two Steps Back, and it's Saliva from Survival of the Sickest.
Interesting tidbit. Our buddy Todd Poole that was in Roxy Blue, and Chris and I through the podcast. We're actually friends with the guy now. We're going to hang out with him Monday night. But he was actually one of the founding members of Saliva. It's a Memphis band. And,
as the drummer.
He was the founding member as the drummer.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. And I meant to when you guys talked about your interviews and stuff like that. I was going to say when you guys did your interview with Todd Poole, you guys did it. That was a 2-episode version. I believe, correct?
It was a total of 3 hours of interviews.
Guys to conquer, man.
Yeah, you guys, I think you guys really knocked it out of the park on that interview. It was great, and there were so many cool stories of him with Saliva and with the guys in Warrant and everything like that. I thought it was just great, and I love the diversity of your guys' podcast, and that's probably one of my favorite episodes you guys did. The two of them actually with Todd Poole, because when you did the first one and you said you were going to have him back for the other one, I'm like, I can't wait for that one to come out, and it was a perfect finish to the first one you guys did, and that was excellent.
We'll probably
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate the kind words, but I mean, honestly, I could tell everybody that wasn't us. I'd love to take credit. That was Todd. I mean, that's just the way he is. I mean,
he's cool.
Yeah, because we actually we met him actually probably when you guys did. I don't know if you knew him before that down at the Rock and Pod Expo last year. Actually, BC met him. I didn't. I was listening to. I think they had the producers panel going on, and that's when BC was talking with Todd Poole there.
Got to talk to him. God, man, a good half hour or more, and really cool, down to earth guy. Very friendly. Gave me like some CDs of Roxy Blue and shit. And he goes, we were talking about an M3, and he goes, hey, can you get us hooked up in M3? I said, dude, I wish I had any kind of inkling with the M3. There'd be a lot better bands playing there.
M3 would be a whole different story.
man. We did not know Todd though. We met him there, and the fact that I live in Memphis, and we just asked him if he would do the podcast, and he said absolutely. And yeah, like David said, I mean, we've become friends with him, and I've hung out with him before, and.
He is very cool.
Put it this way: I never thought I laugh about it like the 14-year-old me, laying on the floor listening to that Roxy Blue record, just loving it. And now, here pretty soon, I'm gonna do a cookout and I'm at my house in Drill. I'm like, I'll probably invite Todd. It's like that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's like Thanksgiving morning about 6:30. I get a text message from him that says, "Happy Thanksgiving, brother." And I just looked at my wife and I'm like, "What world am I living in?"
I know you never would have thought that something like that could happen, because I was Johnny D texted me yesterday as when we were recording this podcast, and like I said, I was going to text him about doing the podcast, but he said to me, "Hey, let's get this podcast going," and I was like, "Fuck, all right," But like you said, never in a million years you would have thought that you would even you would hope to just meet these guys and there was no such thing as a selfie. Hey, let me get a picture with you or anything like that.
No phones.
But like you would be happy just to see them walk by, let alone talk to them and consider them friends. It's just
One more story real quick. Chris and I went to see Every Mother's Nightmare, Tora Tora, Roxy Blue, and Bret Michaels in Memphis, and we nodded at Todd from the stage or whatever, and they got through playing, and it was unusually cold for Memphis that time of the year. It was like 35 degrees and drizzling rain. And so we're leaving during Bret Michaels, and he sees us. He's at the merch tent and comes over and, hey, why are you guys leaving? We're like, oh, it's freezing cold or whatever. And he looks at his wife and goes, get my camera. I need a picture with my boys. And it was just really, Chris and I were just kind of walked out of there like, what is going on here?
That's awesome. And it's great. You never in a million years thought that something like that would happen. And like I said, you guys, your interviews just, knocked it out of the park. Let's get back into Metallica. Great picks, everybody, for the hidden gems. I will go through these. I'll post them online once we get our episode going. And who we got next, Dylan? Are we up for anybody?
Yep.
Let's start with Chris.
All right, I think I'm the first one that's going off this album, but I'm going with the title track, "Injustice for All."
Wow.
I get the fact that people don't like that it doesn't have bass. I wish it had some bass in it as well, but I really liked how they experimented on this album. I like the album. I like it. It's more of a progressive album for them. This song, all of the songs, of course, are really long, but this one I think clocks in at over 9 minutes and a lot of change-ups. Just that towards the end of the song has that muted guitar riff that I just think is so killer. I love this. It's my favorite one on the album, and like I said, I actually like the album. And yes, it's lacking the bass. Without the bass, with bass being put in there, I think everybody talks about this album in a lot higher regard than they do now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think Injustice for All is definitely an album that has been overlooked for the most part. There's a lot of really cool tracks on the album that a lot of people just kind of gloss over, and I think the title track is definitely one of them. A lot of people are intimidated by the runtime of a lot of the songs, but there's some really cool stuff in each of those songs, and especially in Injustice for All.
Yeah, I think it's one of their better albums musically. Again, aside from the bass, but just musically, I think it's one of their better albums. I don't know. I like the way they experimented on that one.
I tell you what I've done is I can't get past the no bass, so I've gotten on the Metallica website, and they record every one of their shows and have everything available for a download. And I've gone through and searched and found every a version of every song off Injustice for All and downloaded it, the live version with bass, and that's how I listen to the album now. And Injustice for All is just a great track.
I definitely I enjoy that track and I actually do enjoy that whole album, like, much better than Master Puppets.
Now you're just being...
I'm just being mean now. But that is a good track. That was the song when they did live when Lady Justice would start falling apart, correct? Was that the one they would do that for?
Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll have to look that up because I know they had the scales of Justice Lady behind the drum and behind the drum riser and I think that was the song that she would start crumbling down at the end of the song. But like you said, there are a lot of cool time changes and the whole album is just, and like Dylan said, don't be intimidated by the length of the songs. There's some cool shit there. Great pick. BC, give us another one.
I was just going to say, I picked that one too, but I'm going to go with Eye of the Beholder off that album.
All right.
Like I said, that's one of my, I'm an early Metallica guy, but definitely this album caught my ear.
Yeah, I like that song a lot too. Like I said, I'm just a fan of the album. Like I said, nobody really wants to talk about that one, but I love it.
Very, very good, solid pick. And that's another album I think you could probably put the song titles on a wall and throw a dart at it, and
Whatever it lands on, and boom.
There's a good song there.
Yeah.
All right, good pick, BC.
Yeah, it looks like they did crumble it during Injustice for All, but they also built it up during that because the song's long enough that they can do both.
Oh, okay.
They can tear it down and rebuild it.
Yeah.
It's like a whole version of The Wall in one song.
Yeah, they condense Pink Floyd into the one.
Very cool. David, who do you got next for us, my friend?
All right, this is the pick I'm nervous about.
Uh-oh.
So I think if this was the Gong Show, somebody would hit the gong when I say it. It's a song off Load. I actually prefer the version on S&M. It's the song "Hero of the Day." I know that's a ballad, and I know that's a no-no on this podcast, but the version on S&M I just love, and I love the solo that Kirk Hammett lays down on it. And it's true. It's kind of in true fashion to some of their ballads. It does have probably a 30 or 40 second segment there where the double bass drum is kicking real heavy. But other than that, it shies away from the heaviness. But I listen to it all the time, and like I said, the version on S&M I think is amazing. So go ahead and flame away. I know you're going to shoot me down, but that's one I like.
I'm not going to shoot you down. Personally, because I think there, as far as S&M goes, there is not a bad song on that album.
No.
But it fits so well into the set that they picked for that performance or whatever you want to call it. I would like to have been there. I don't think they put it on the video of the process of how they picked what they picked to play. I know that they met with Michael Kamen, during the video, and they said, "Here's what we want to do." But I don't think you got any of that before stuff where they actually said, "Okay, you guys, what do you think we should do for this performance? What do you think songs would translate well?" And God only knows how that song got picked to be on that. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it fit. I think it fit really well.
Yeah, another good one that they pulled off on there is Outlaw Torn Offload. I think that sounds amazing on that album.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah, they didn't pick a bad song on that.
You could have picked either one of them, and you didn't pick.
I think that's very interesting. So here we have was it a total of 6 of us, and all of us like hard rock and metal. And here we are, singing the praises of a Michael Kamen and a classical orchestra. I think unanimously.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
But I mean, I think that goes to the fact that a good song is a good song.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's a thrash song or a more mellow song or a song with the violins and shit in it. As long as you didn't say, the orchestra version of "Shook Me All Night Long" or "Rock and Roll All Night," something like that. I think they chose wisely on these songs. They picked songs that translated very well with the orchestra. I have no qualms with any song that they did on that whole album performance.
I agree.
Definitely.
Great pick. Awesome. What do we got next, Dylan?
You, BB, or me?
Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay, so my last 2 picks are actually the lead-off tracks on the albums that they appear on. I'll go with the most recent one first. Off of Death Magnetic, That Was Just Your Life. That's a return to form to Metallica. They took that pretty long hiatus after Saint Anger, after everybody was pissed about the tin can drums, and they came back with this song. Starts out with a really cool heartbeat and then just builds to this amazing thrash song that showed Metallica was back, baby. The production of the album absolutely blows. I won't argue that.
Well, they never mastered it, correct?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because the Guitar Hero Metallica versions of the songs are mastered, and the album version is not. So if you want the definitive versions, play Guitar Hero.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's a great song. I think that's a really good album. Probably their most progressive album since Injustice for All.
Yeah.
But one of the things that frustrates me about Metallica is they have probably the most loyal fan base of any band. And let's be honest, they went from 1991 until really 2008, whenever Death Magnetic came out, where they really just kind of crapped on their fans to some extent, and it frustrates me that that's part of that album is part of what they call the loudness war, when that was going on, where the albums were mixed, where everything was just so loud and all the same level. And it frustrates me that they won't go back and fix that, and they won't go back and the new Injustice for All reissue is about to come out, and Lars has said we're not putting bass in it, and it's your fan base is clamoring for this, and if you put the bass in Master of Puppets or you remixed Death Magnetic, you're going to get a lot more album buys. I mean, if you're just in it for the money, but their fan base is so rabid and wants them to do the right thing, and Lars is just no, we're gonna keep it the way it is,
I mean, I understand that argument. I really do, because it's not. But at the same time, like we talked about, Lars, it wasn't that they thought Newsted sucked. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't have hired him. It's just that is the sound he wanted. So I guess if that's the sound he wanted, and he feels the album's right. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I wish they had the bass in it.
I mean, who am I to argue? I'm going to see them in January, and I paid $250 for the ticket, so they're doing something right.
Where are you seeing them?
In Birmingham. Me and a couple of buddies from work. I actually saw them on Lollapalooza in '96 when Load came out. It was a crazy bill. It was Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden, Rancid, The Screaming Trees, and here's the curveball for you, Waylon Jennings.
Wow.
Yeah, so apparently Hetfield, in one of his, in the contract, he had it written in that Waylon Jennings would play a few dates with them. And so the one in New Orleans was actually one. And so I think that he came on right before Rage Against the Machine. So at that point, everybody had gotten up to getting ready and in the mosh pit. And so, Waylon Jennings played the theme song from Dukes of Hazzard. Just a good old boy. And he plays that, and the crowd is moshing to it. And he has this look on his face like, I got to get out of here. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, that'd just be a crazy show to see. That's freaking awesome.
It was.
Who we got, Dylan?
I'm gonna say, Dylan, that's right down your wheelhouse. All those bands.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine and Metallica on the same bill would be.
Yeah, Dylan lit up like a freaking Christmas tree here when you said those. When you said those guys.
Yeah. So you were BB. Okay.
Go ahead, BB.
I think I'm gonna follow in BC's. I think Chris is also his last pick was Injustice for All, but I'm gonna go with Blackened. I think the solo in Blackened is probably one of the fastest solos that Metallica has, and I love the lyric of millions of our years in minutes disappear, like the earth just blew up. Like every time I hear that, I'm like, poof. It's almost like the Star Wars, like when they blow up.
Alderaan?
Yeah, poof, gone.
Yeah, it's all about the ecosystem.
There you go. And Earth Day
Reaching
will be
the
Sunday.
Environmentalism from Metallica.
See? But Blackened.
That song was a tough cut. That was a tough cut for me. I mean, because I really wanted to put that on my list, but just barely missed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good pick, BB. I enjoyed that one, and I actually really like that. They have the video out that they recorded in Seattle. I think it was last tour date on the Injustice for All tour they recorded in Seattle, and like they played Blackened in that. I don't know if they open up the show with it, but it's really good. A really good track. Good call, BB. It's about time you brought up a good fucking song.
Thank you.
That tempo change in the middle was so cool.
Yeah, definitely. I also am going to pick a song
For Master of Puppets.
No. Or Injustice for All. I'm going to pick King Nothing.
Where's your crown?
Where is your crown?
Harpo.
That is from Load, I believe.
From Load, yes.
It's just a great song, a great hard rock song. There's nothing, no thrash about it. It's just a good in-your-face hard rock song. Our buddies Harpo, that's another song that those guys did. And I think it's a song that would have actually fit in good on the Black Album. You know,
I agree. I agree.
You know, I
see that.
really do. And that was one of them songs that I think if they cut down, load and reload into one album, I think that definitely would have been one of the standout songs on that album. And I think it just has a great vibe to it. The lyrics are cool.
That
Guitar
bass
playing
line.
is good. The bass line is fucking excellent. It's just a great Metallica song.
And apparently the band loves it 'cause they play it a lot.
I would love to see. Like, they played that when we saw them in Philadelphia this summer. I probably would have lost my fucking mind. All right. We're on our last pick here. Correct, Dylan?
Sky's the neighborhood.
Correct. Our last pick here. We'll let BB go first.
All right. And
Since you're probably going to bone someone, so go ahead.
no, definitely not. This is my last
Spit
pick
out the bone.
because this is probably the only thing in the world I am scared of. And my kids will testify to this.
They run a
Trapped
song-
Under Ice
Oh,
from Ride the Lightning. I think this is one of Metallica's most underrated song. And the beginning is so amazing and so fast. And then the lyrics, it just scares the shit out of you because this is my fear. My only fear is falling through ice and drowning. And this song is my
I thought it was
fucking
getting
fear.
buried by a pile of rice. Isn't that what the trapped under rice? No?
Oh, that's a Chinese version.
And that's the dad joke. Of
That's on the
evening,
Japan.
everybody.
That's on the Japan version.
Good song though. Great
Yeah.
song.
It is a good song.
Good song.
It is. Another song that would probably score high on the Steve Matt list
No,
for
a
Ride the
good
Lightning.
song.
Yeah.
Maybe Strike Against Disposable Heroes or something.
It's not, but
Good pick though. Good pick. Digital guys, what do you guys think?
I like the
great.
song. I mean, I
Good.
like every song on the record, but yeah, that is a cool one.
yeah, there's not a bad song on that album. Go ahead and flame away, but I even like Escape.
See,
Yeah.
I may go with David's math on that one. Just saying.
go for it. For spite.
Cool. Okay, Trapped Under Ice. Good call,
Ta-da.
BB, for your last pick. Chris, what do you got for us?
I don't know. I guess I'm a little surprised this hasn't come up yet, and I think at this point we've just about covered the track listing. But I'm going off master. I'm going with Welcome Home Sanitarium. Sorry, it is not a ballad. You know, that song gets pretty heavy towards the end. Not towards the end. Doesn't even take that long. I love those kind of that haunting opening harmonics they have. Then just into that cool picking pattern they have. Just great song. And that's one, like I said, more than anything. I think of that song, the Paradise Life videos. You know, Damien Eccles would wear the Metallica shirts and all. It's fitting that they had those in the films. And you see the very beginning, they're showing the highway going in West Memphis, Arkansas, and they have those harmonics kick in, and it just, I don't know. I always think of that. Love that song. But if you guys haven't heard it, there's a really cool version. I have it. I probably have it. I probably have it on my computer now, but I don't know where I found this. But it was Whitfield Crane of Ugly Kid Joe, who
Ugly Kid
actually
Joe.
temporarily sang for Life of Agony, but didn't ever record an album with them. But it's him on vocals, Scott Ian on guitar, maybe a couple other people, but they do a version of Sanitarium. It's just killer.
That's cool. Chris, can you do me a favor? Send me a version of that song, and I will post it on once I get the videos going for that week. Send me that.
You mean
I definitely
with
wanna check
Whitfield
that out.
Crane?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Hopefully it's on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, and I'll just send me a reminder even if you want, and I'll post it. I definitely want to.
No, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind at all looking for it though. I hope it's on there.
Sweet.
I think
Cool.
it's one of the coolest Metallica song endings. Like the way that it just like has like the whole band coming together, like with the synchronized like blasts. It's so
right. Yeah.
iconic, and this was always one of my favorite Metallica songs. I absolutely love the journey that the lyrics take you on, like where they're breaking out of the asylum, and it just like goes into this blistering solo, and it's so good.
Yeah, I crossed this one off my list because Chris and I kind of consulted one another the other day. We didn't want to have a lot of duplicates, and I'm with Chris when. If you guys have never seen them, the HBO Paradise Lost documentaries about the West Memphis Three, this song is so prominent at the beginning of one of them that I cannot listen to the song and not think about that. And it's every time I listen to it, I think about those documentaries. But I think it's a top 3 or 4 Metallica song of all time. And like we said, it's on that Master of Puppets. And outside of Steve, I think everybody else, is completely down with that album because we've almost listed every song on the album.
Yep.
But that's probably my second favorite song behind Master of Puppets on the album.
It is really good. And the Paradise Lost documentaries, done by the same guys that did Some Kind of Monster.
Cool. Yeah, that's right. We talked about that actually. I think.
That's interesting.
And I will say that is definitely a song that I do enjoy from Master of Puppets. So that will score high.
We found one.
That will score high on the list.
There is a God.
Good pick there, Chris. So that'll definitely be a high scoring one. Great pick. Let's go to BC. What do you got for us?
I don't got much left here.
Well, you only need
BC's
one
picking
more.
up the scraps.
I'm down to my scraps here.
No such
but,
thing as scraps with Metallica.
no, but I mean they're on the bottom of my list. Not that there should be a bottom, but this song always comes to mind when I'm at work. It's off of Justice. It's the frayed ends of sanity. 'Cause, when I'm at work, I always lose my mind some days. But
And I can vouch for BC. How he keeps any remnants of sanity on the shift that he works on is beyond any kind of mental comprehension that is actually out there or been measured.
Welcome home, Sanitarian.
Yeah. BC's frayed ends of sanity is going to put him in. Going to welcome him home to the sanitarium.
one day.
Good pick though.
I mean, like I said, I just that song comes to my head every time. I can hear it playing in the back of my head now.
One that hardly ever gets played. I think it's only been played a few times.
Very few of that. I mean, but I like it.
Yeah, that's a song that if you see they play a show somewhere, and that's one that like if they played like that's like the first thing they say, hey, they played Frayed Ends of Sanity.
If they had a book like Kiss says,
Kiss Alive Forever.
or what it says how
how
what
many
they
songs
played, how
each
many
time was
times they
played.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very
BB.
good solid pick. What are we down to? Down to me and David.
To me.
All right, we will go. Host to host here. David, here you go. Last pick, my friend.
All right, I was going to go, I just called an audible. I was going to go with a Cyanide off Death Magnetic, which I really like, but a song that I cannot believe no one has mentioned. It's my favorite cover song of all time. It's their version of Turn the Page.
Oh, Turn the Page.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say Whiskey in a Jar.
Listen, I like that version of the song.
I love it. I think it's the definitive. I like it 10 times better than the Bob Seger version, and the video for it is really cool. I love it when they play it live. I love it when it breaks out the slide every now and then, and he does it in this song. And it's a song that I just think rocks from top to bottom. And they made it their own, and I definitely feel the lyrics better than I do when Bob Seger sings. I like Bob Seger. I don't have a problem with him, but this version, to me, it's just it's probably my favorite cover song of all time, and I never get tired of listening to it.
I absolutely disagree with you for one reason, that I like it 100 times better than the original version. It is. It's a great version of that, and in that whole album that they put together for that with the cover songs. And I'm so glad he didn't, pick Whiskey in a Jar, because I hate that song. I don't even like the Metallica version of it. But Turn the Page, and like you said, even the video, it totally encaptures the feel of the song. It is just a great pick. What do you think, guys?
It's an overused word, but it does have an epic feel to it. It has this build, and Hetfield's singing his heart out, and like when he's singing like the last "There I Go," you're like feeling it. You're like, yeah, I'm there with them. I'm turning the page.
I mean, vocally, it may be Hetfield's best work.
I think so. He does a phenomenal job.
Absolutely. Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
I like it. I do like it. It's not going to be near the top, but I'm not a huge. And I like Bob Seger, but I'm not a huge fan of the Seger version. And I'm just, again, don't hate the song at all. Which I also, even though y'all hate the Whiskey in the Jar version, which I'm not crazy about either. Do y'all not like the Thin Lizzy version?
What was that?
Thin Lizzy Whiskey in the Jar, because everybody's kind of shitting on Whiskey in the Jar.
Steve's not a big.
I'm not a Thin Lizzy fan, in any way, shape, or form.
I love Thin Lizzy. I mean, that's one of my very favorite classic rock bands.
Yeah, that's one. I don't know why. For some reason, they never really resonated with me. But I love the Black Star Riders, which is weird because they're Thin Lizzy without Phil Lynott. I don't know. I like. They're a band that I like their songs when someone else does them. Except for Whiskey in the Jar, I don't like that one. Whoever does it, I just don't like the song. But that's the great thing about music. Not everybody has to agree on everything. Everyone has their own taste and stuff like that, and it's great. And it's great that you can have a debate and a disagreement, and no one walks away pissed off or whatever the fuck, like BC flipping the fucking table or anything like that. Everyone's got their own taste. Everyone's got their own opinion, and it's all good. It's all friggin' good. But back to Turn the Page, David. Awesome pick.
Yeah.
Good guess. And I honestly did not even look at the at
Garage Inc.
The Garage Inc. I'm sorry, I had a little brain.
I mean,
right there.
their drunken version of Tuesday's Gone is awesome.
That is good.
I like that. That's my favorite of the cover.
That's. I mean, you could literally do a whole show on the Damage Inc. album.
Garage Inc.
Garage Inc.
Damage Inc. is from Master Puppets.
That's sorry. See that I'm overloaded on Metallica, but it's great. They have so much great music out there, and God only knows what actually is out there that they haven't released.
Yeah, that would be interesting to hear. Hopefully, at some point, they're going to call it a day, and they can put out a box set of everything that's never been released.
Absolutely, definitely. All right, Dylan, your last pick. What do you got?
Speaking of slide guitar, my song has a slide solo in it. I first heard this one on Cutting Stunts, the live DVD, and it's actually really the first full experience I had with Metallica, besides listening to the albums. It's the first visual thing I had with them. It's Ain't My Bitch, the lead-off track of Load. I think it's got a cool feel to it. It does have the chaws that Chris hates, but it's cool. It's got a cool feel to it. It's a cool riff, and I like it a lot.
It's a good song. I agree.
It's a special place in my heart.
It almost made my list, but like I said, I'm more of an earlier Metallica guy. So.
Same here.
But definitely a good song.
Yeah, I didn't make my list. I was the load guy, but I wasn't the reload guy.
It was on Load.
You're not gonna dump. You're not gonna dump on Load
Dump on
again,
the
right?
load.
It's the opening
Maybe I'm
track.
gonna jump on the reload.
No, it's the opening track on Load.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's correct.
See,
now I'm all jazzed.
pay
up.
attention, man.
I'm
Come
all
on.
jazzed up.
The opening track on Reload is Fuel.
All right.
Man, no, I really hate that song.
And I swear that's James Hetfield's favorite song they've ever written.
Well,
Oh, man.
I know that when they were on this last tour, they were going back and forth between, like every show, they'd either play Fuel or they'd play Creeping Death. And we lucked out with
They played Creeping Death at our show. Thank God. Thank
Man,
God.
if I got Fuel over Creeping Death,
You got bones.
Now,
Chris is an understatement.
You're being violated.
I will tell you one song off Reload that I mean it's all right, but when they play it live, it's so cool with the audience participation, and that's The Memory Remains.
Yeah, I love
Oh, that is good. That is good.
I really like when James Hetfield sings the Marianne Faithfull part. I think it sounds really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's got a cool epic feel to it.
That's like creepy at
And
the
I
end.
love
like
that.
like the video was like really creepy because we could literally do a show on Metallica videos. and it's funny because they were the band that was like really super late to the party to do a music video.
Well, they said they would never do one.
Yeah, right.
That was
right.
the big thing.
And when they
They'd
finally
never do
did,
it.
and they did one, and like you, I think it was David. You said that it scared the shit out of you when it came on. It was like a creepy friggin' video because that movie is like crazy. You know, like the guy just
Johnny got his
Johnny got his gun, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's another topic we'll revisit with you guys. Maybe we'll do
We'll reload it.
Metallica. We'll reload the Metallica videos or something like that. But I will.
Dad, or since we're talking about scary or favorite like scary songs.
Yeah, well, because just look at the video for Unforgiven.
That's a pretty
Like that old dude in that video is like, oh man, like. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're walking through the woods, you come on a friggin' cabin, that'd be the guy you'd fucking see. You know? Holy shit.
That's a very specific image.
You know? I mean, that would just be like crazy.
It's a little too specific.
Yeah, I know. No shit. All right, my last pick, which will be the last pick of the night.
It's not the cover of Remember Tomorrow, is it?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Steve, let me interrupt you. I know
Go
what
ahead.
your last pick
No, go
is.
ahead, buddy.
It's Mama Tried off Load.
Oh, good. But that's
That may
not
be
it,
their
though.
worst song.
But that's not it. that didn't make the cut. It didn't even come
It was
close to making
close.
the cut.
It was really close.
Yeah, that was my like ninth pick, I think. I'm gonna go with I'm going with Atlas Rise from Hardwire for Self-Destruct.
Great pick.
My original one was Moth into Flame, but I decided to that's my audible. I called it Atlas Rise. Great song. Like I love the video for that song when it shows Kirk doing that solo with that one part with the with his wah-wah pedal is just like holy fuck. He just like melts the paint in the room with the guitar solo on that song, and it's great. I'm glad it's one of the ones that they've done live, and I just had my birthday this last year, and BC picked me up the album Metallica. I think it's at Webster Hall they played, and they played Moth to Flame, and they played Atlas Rise, and they played Hardwired for Self-Destruct on that at that show. And like I just listened to it last night. I just finally got my vinyl set up going with my good speakers and the good turntable, and listened to that last night, and it just like I said before, it just melted the fucking paint off the wall. My wife's pissed now that we're gonna have to repaint. But just a great song, and I think they really hit it out of the park on their newest album, Hardwire for Self-Destruct. It was either Chris or David that said they could have cut that down a little bit, couple song wise, and but it is a long album, but it's great though. They just really kick ass on that album.
I just love that their lead-off single has a chorus of "We're so fucked, shit out of luck." It's such a good radio song.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Atlas Rise. Any love, fellas?
It's a great song. I love
Yeah.
all of the singles that were released on this album.
It's a great album.
It is
For
a-
once, I
Yeah.
mean, when it
Yeah, the whole first side of the first disc of that double album, I prefer. The only song I really like on the second album is "Spit Out the Bone." But yeah, Atlas Rise. That's probably my second favorite song behind "Moth into a Flame." And then now that we're dead is a great song too.
Yeah. I like Now That We're Dead, they do this really cool thing live where like they're all on like a drum and they're like doing the drum
Yeah.
part in the
Oh,
middle.
right.
It's really
Yeah,
cool.
and they do it live, and it's great. They just
Yeah,
like
well, that's
bring
what I
out.
was talking about.
Yeah, they bring out the drums. It's really, really cool. So yeah, you guys, I think there was not a bad pick tonight, except for the shit from Master Puppets.
Bye, everybody.
Good
I'll see
night.
ya.
No, I just busted ass, but I will absolutely check Master Puppets out again, and like I said, there was not a bad pick tonight. Metallica has so many good songs, and we've just really touched the tip of the iceberg for Metallica here. I mean, you could actually. I'm sure there is. I know there is a Metallica podcast out there. I mean, they're a band you could talk about like literally every week. You could pick a song and talk about it for the whole goddamn night. But just such a good band, and we just wanted to throw it out there, give people a different idea, songs to check out, and it was cool because there were some songs that overlap, but there were songs that were unexpected. Totally unexpected in the picks, and I think that's in our discussion we had before about different music and stuff like that. I think it was great. I think we had a great discussion here tonight. And Chris, what's your thoughts on tonight?
I enjoyed it, man, and I just hearing. I was actually surprised, to be honest, by all the. I'm not going to even say post. Injustice with the post-black. I was surprised at how many post-black albums there were. And I thought you guys were all going to go steer. I know BC kind of stuck with me with all the thrash records, but kind of surprised by all that. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. But I didn't. That surprised me. I knew David would go that way. That was the big surprise of the night.
David, how about you, my friend?
I think the fact that you don't like Master of Puppets was the most shocking thing, and then hey, maybe I'll buy you a remastered version of it and give it to you in Nashville. The thing that shocked me was the love for S&M. I always thought I was kind of a closet S&M fan. That doesn't sound good, does it? Of the album.
He takes a dump on load.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting, because like we said, it's a bunch of metal guys sitting around talking about Michael Kamen's orchestra, and it as Chris says sometimes about some bands, it shouldn't work, but it just does. And but other than that, I thought it was a great time, great discussion. You guys are very, very easy to converse with, that's for sure.
Yeah, what a great night we had. What a great discussion. I'm still pissed off that Steve didn't pick anything from the Lou Reed album because I know he listens to that all the time.
Town girl.
He picked me up the other day and it was playing in the Jeep, so
It was not.
It was, but I'm not gonna push the limit any further. But it just shows that Metallica has such a great catalog of music, and especially the ones that we duplicated. Out of 6 of us, and we're still duplicating songs out of 100 and probably 30, 40 some songs that they have. So the ones we duplicated, guys that you're out there, listen, please pick up something that you have not heard from Metallica. Give it a good listen because it's really, really great music. And old music turns into new music.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's BB's new catchphrase. New music and
Old music is new music.
Okay. Done.
Metallica's a band that they definitely hold up to a deep dive. There's a lot of songs that didn't get the praise that they deserved, that a lot of people tend to overlook. We named a bunch of them tonight. The popular songs are great, but there are some really amazing song structures and riffs and guitar solos and bass lines that just people don't pay attention to, and I think it definitely deserves to have a light shown on it.
Oh, I agree that tonight's episode was a lot of fun, and especially with guests, it always makes it that much more. And like you said, so many songs were like duplicated. Over half my list was scratched out because everybody said so. But that tells you just the power of Metallica.
Right.
Everybody's on the same. The same lichens and everything. So hey, stay old school, stay trash.
I will say that the hardest part of tonight's episode is going to be me deciphering all the shit that I scribbled down.
Yeah, I don't know what you have.
Stuff to check out and everything. And it was awesome having David and Chris on the podcast. Like I said before, that this has been in the works for a long time. We were David and I were back and forth several times and about what would work, what wouldn't work, and I think it came out great. I had a great time, and you guys are easy to talk to. We're on the but it's good. We're on the same page for some things and not on the same page for another, which is great. Which is the the great diversity of music and musical taste that's out there. Some songs people picked, and a couple people had them on their lists, and but it was just great. And Metallica is just such a great band to get out there and enjoy. And if you're a hard rock fan or a metal fan, Metallica really is a band that has something for everybody. They have the ballady type or the more mellow songs. They have the total tear the top of your head off friggin' thrash songs. They have the mid-tempo kind of, grungy kind of, marching type songs. And I think we covered a lot of that. We didn't really cover the ballady stuff. I do have to say, we saw Metallica in, I don't know, June or July down in Philadelphia. It might have been May. I don't know, whatever the hell the show was. But I really did not have an appreciation for the song The Unforgiven until I saw it live. That was a song that I would always skip all the time, like religiously skip. But like when I saw them do it live, it gave me new appreciation for that song. It obviously didn't make my top 7. They're just a band that I think will surprise you every now and then. They're a band that will throw something out there, and for even the hatred that Saint Anger gets, even from me, I was able to pick up a song from their Dirty Window, and when I listen to that song, I just picture it in my mind with not that shitty drum sound, but it's a great song. There's a lot of great shit out there. And, we'll go once more around the horn here. Everyone can, digital guys, we'll do ours first. We'll let you guys go again. You guys give your good plug to your guys' awesome show, and we'll wrap this thing up. BB.
Once again, digital guys, thanks for coming on again. You guys are like brothers to us. I can't wait to actually listen to this in Justice for Jason.
Yeah, I want to.
I really want to scope that out, give it a little bass. Line to this, especially for Blackened. I love that song, but I can't wait to actually get out there. So, thanks for whoever actually threw that out there. A little homework for tonight.
Thanks, guys, for putting up with us. We appreciate it. And to everybody out there, metal up your ass.
There you go. BC.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on with us. And like I said, we'll see you August, yeah.
And hopefully we could get together on a topic and do something on your guys' show before that. But we will absolutely be seeing you at least
physically,
live in August.
Yeah, I'm getting in on Thursday night. We'll go to Grimey's and buy some records the next day.
That sounds good. We will be there Thursday also.
Hey, there's a great live EP from Metallica live at Grimey's.
Yep.
I almost bought that yesterday. All right, David and Chris, give us your final thoughts and give yourselves guys a good plug. You guys definitely deserve it.
Well, I'll let David do the plug for the show, so I'll just say thanks for having us on. Enjoyed it. We'll definitely come up with a topic, have y'all on, and look for. I probably will get there Friday, but I look forward to screw the podcast, man. I look forward to drinking some beers.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, man, had a good time. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, ditto with what Chris said. Thanks for having us. It's a great time. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can go to iTunes and simply search Digital Kill the Radio Star, or we're also on SoundCloud, and we're on Ear Peeler if you use that format. Our Twitter is Digital Killed. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram, Digital Kill the Radio Star Podcast. We have an Instagram that I'm going to try to be a little more active on in the future. And, give us a listen. If you don't like one episode, you may like the next one. Like we said, we're kind of all over the place, but that's just kind of how Chris and I are. But, yeah, we got some cool things in the works that should be out in the next couple of weeks if everything pans out the way the way we hope. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to Nashville. Like Chris said, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. And we can set up a mic in one of our bedrooms and sit around and drink a few and talk music. And we're, like I said, we're sharing the table at and I think we're at, I'm not going to say over there where we are, but I think we got a good spot for the expo. But other than that, good time, guys. Enjoyed talking about Metallica. If I had to you had to put the Mount Rushmore of American music, not just metal, but just American music. You have to put Metallica on there, and I think it's well deserved.
Awesome. Thank you, David and Chris. I totally agree with you guys, and I'm absolutely looking forward to hanging out with you guys down in Nashville and everybody else that is going to be at Rockin' Pod Expo 2. And I want to thank you guys personally for coming on. I know everyone's has busy lives and everybody's got shit going on, and I appreciate you guys spending your time with us. It's just such a great community that we're doing a crossover show here with these guys talking about Metallica. Metallica has such a great catalog, and like we said, there's stuff we didn't even really touch on. We could do like a whole series of Metallica shows, and I appreciate these guys coming on. And you guys check these guys out. Digital Killed the Radio Star podcast. These guys have some awesome shows out there, and obviously listen to them after you listen to us, definitely. And if you guys are looking for, we have some cool swag out there. It's clickstudios.threadless.com /designs / you could pick up some a Potter Than Hell tote bag or a couple of different shirts we have out there, a bunch of different swag out there. We actually had some guitar picks printed up, so if you guys see us out there, we will have picks with us. We'll throw them out to you guys. I just want to thank everybody out there for listening to us and checking us out. And we're out there. We're on iTunes. We're on Ear Peeler. We're on Google Play. Anywhere pretty much where you could find a podcast. You could find Potter Than Hell podcast. Check us out. Tell your friends about us. Interact with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter account. And like David said with his Instagram account, I'm going to try to get on Twitter a little more. And I just want to thank everybody out there for listening and checking us out. And, we will see you guys next time, and there will be a next time.